Hello. Can you hear me clearly? Wait, this was not for you. Can you hear me clearly? कोई हाँ भी नहीं बोलता है, ना भी नहीं बोलता है. Hello. Oh, sorry. हाँ, sorry. I was on mute. इसके लिए तो I have to ask, no, I have to confirm if you can hear me. I was on mute. Now can you hear me? Fantastic. Let's go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are done with the first chapter of our syllabus, that is introduction. After class, बोलो. हाँ, sorry. चलो, let's go ahead. We are done with our first chapter, introduction. We now go to our second chapter. अभी देखो, in the index, it is the second chapter, or you may consider this as the first chapter because that way in the first chapter we have only studied tax rates. This second chapter name is the name of the chapter, double taxation avoidance agreement. Double taxation avoidance agreement. Short name of the chapter is DTAA. Screen is visible, no? Double taxation avoidance agreement, DTAA. These agreements have also been given some other names. You know, can one person have more than one name? Virat Kohli is Chiku. Hello, Kareena Kapoor is Bebo, Hrithik Roshan is Duggu. We'll keep a lecture on that. This agreement has been given one more name called treaty. School history mein you must have come across this word. Agreement signed between two kingdoms. So, treaty. And internationally, they also call it convention. This is an international term. This chapter is a part of international tax. Convention. You know, governments of multiple countries sit down in one city, enter into an agreement with each other, and that convention is given the name of the city. For example, there is a Shimla Convention of ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Shimla Convention because signed in Shimla. There is a Geneva Convention. You've heard this in the news, Geneva Convention. There was this Indian Air Force pilot Abhinandan Vartaman who accidentally, erroneously entered Pakistan ka border and he was captured by them. And they had to release. There is something written in the convention that if you don't release the soldier in these many days who accidentally crosses the border, if you don't release in these many days, then the two countries will be at war. So they had to release. Imran Khan was the Prime Minister, I think, in that, some years ago. So that is Geneva Convention, an agreement between countries. So you may also now therefore call it DTAT or DTAC. This is only the short name. DTAA is the popular name of the chapter, Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement. And agreements are also known as treaties and conventions. If you see ICAI study material, in ICAI study material, the name of this chapter is Double Taxation Relief. मतलब you'll always have a question, sir, ये वाला chapter study material में किधर है? So the answer is, it is double taxation, क्या bro? Relief. It is a part of international tax, and that means it is a part of that 30 marks of your syllabus, which has got mandatory weightage. One. Second, it is one of the most important chapters of your international tax. So we have this 70-30 breakup into subjective questions and MCQs. So for those 30 marks also there will be similar breakup. 70% subjective and 30%. Roughly 10 marks will be international tax ka MCQs. So you still have about 20 marks ka subjective questions. You understand the maths here? 20 marks ka subjective questions on international tax. And out of those 20 marks, 6 to 8 marks will be carried by this chapter. I am telling you the importance of this chapter. 6 to 8 marks. If it is an easy question, less adjustment, 6 marks. It can go up to 8 marks also, is the weightage of this chapter. And the good news is that the chapter is very, very easy and small. So before we take our long Ganpati break, we have 2 lectures today and day after tomorrow, and in these 2 lectures we will be able to complete the chapter. It's a very small chapter, very easy chapter, very important chapter, very scoring chapter. So this brings me to one more concept of costing. There is a costing concept called Pareto analysis. अगर कोई आइडिया नहीं, हम कॉस्टिंग किधर सर? Pareto analysis नहीं, just in time सर, ड्यू डेट का. Pareto analysis का concept in costing says that you should know, as an industrialist, as a company who is selling goods, you should know which 20% of your products bring your 80% revenue. 20% of any company का products will bring 80% of revenue. 80-20 का ratio भी. As a chartered accountant, as a faculty, I know this, that 80% of my revenue comes from 20% of my work, that is recording my lectures every year in 2 languages. Ab to I have, of late I have stopped doing also Hindi lectures almost completely, because in any case your exams are in English, you have to write your exams in English. So I have almost discontinued Hindi lectures. Maybe 1 recording in a year for intermediate, that's it, not more than that. Because I know that 80% of my revenue, which I am saying, उसमें से 79, 80, 75% comes from the English lecture. I know which thing to keep and which thing to remove. That analysis is what I am talking about. As a CA student, you should understand that out of 44 chapters, which can be or which are those about 10 chapters, 15 chapters that can carry about 80-85% weightage in your exam. And this is one of them. If you ever ask me to make a list of list A, list B, list C, most important topics, moderately important topics, less important topics, this chapter will come in list A. For sure. If I have to tell you the importance of this topic. ये समझे? Oh wait, some are like, sir, तो वो 44 में से which are those exactly 15 chapters? Can you let us know a little idea? No bro, no, not at all, not right now. Because knowing you guys and knowing what has happened to the culture of education in the last 5 years in my country, in our profession, if I give you the list today, so the next chapter, if not in that list, so obviously you also not in class. क्या तो टैक्स रेट्स में भी नहीं आया? एडवांस आईटीटी ये क्या होता है? You still have to do it. I thought you had to complete all. अच्छा, new syllabus में students have to complete this before intermediate. IT, OC, everything you have to complete. Then only you can start your articles. Life में priorities है ना. There they don't give you backup of recording or anything like that. So you should know which are your important topics, but I am not going to give you that list because first time we will consider every topic very important. But yes, I must tell you that this falls in list A, very scoring, very easy chapter. If this question comes in your exam, which is most likely, so basically you have to focus on getting marks in that question. No matter how much, how difficult they make or set the paper, you will always find those 40-50 marks ka questions which are very easy. In the toughest of papers, I am telling you. How do you decide whether a question paper is easy or difficult? 120 marks ka question paper comes with options. उसमें से 20 marks you will not even come to know which subject you are, which course you are doing, and not just in DT but in all the papers. That option is only for time pass. You leave that. Out of the remaining 100, if about 20 marks is difficult, that means we declare the paper as easy because 80 marks easy. But sometimes what happens, ये difficult वाला part they keep for about 40-45 marks. That means overall the paper appears to be difficult, but you will still have those 50-55 marks, 60 marks ka scoring part. Your talent lies in the 15 minutes of your reading time to identify कि ये paper में these questions I will definitely attempt. And this if you find, you please mark के हाँ ये तो I have to do, बाकी का I will see. double taxation avoidance. So in order to understand how we get this relief, because common sense, even without knowing the meaning, common sense, very uncommon. Common sense says that double taxation is definitely a genuine hardship. Do you agree with that? No one should be paying double tax. Bro, I belong to the Marwadi community. Did I ever tell you that? We don't believe in paying single tax. Given a choice, we will not pay any tax at all. The double tax is definitely not something that I am going to pay. If at all I am suffering double taxation, I should be getting some relief, and this chapter is basically calculate that relief. The question in this chapter will be calculate relief from double taxation. But then, bro, for that you need to first know what is the meaning of double taxation. You cannot understand relief without knowing double taxation. So what is our first step? We will have to go and learn the meaning of. And in order to explain to you the meaning of double taxation, I will have to take a temporary exit from this chapter and take you to a concept which is not a concept of this chapter. It is a concept of international tax. Every time you study any chapter of international tax from your 30 marks, this concept has to be a part of that chapter. Every chapter of international tax. This is one of the most important learnings of your entire syllabus. If you know that concept, you will understand the meaning of double taxation. So we'll take a temporary exit from that chapter, and that means we are not doing Antakshari here. Exit matlab we are going to another concept, and that concept is a part of every chapter of international tax. Every chapter. Very, very important concept. You may give it as many stars as you want, because only if you know this concept, you know a single word in international tax. Otherwise, you don't know anything in international tax. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, 30 marks. Extremely important. Globally, there are two principles of levy of tax. Globally, there are two principles of levy of tax. See, there are some countries in the world which don't have any tax on income, no income tax. We call them tax haven country. Heaven, swarg nahi, not Jannat. Jannat dikha tha. Tax haven. You've heard this term before? No income tax. UAE, Dubai. Dubai mein there is no income. There is no personal income tax. Recently they have introduced corporate income tax. So you never know. Very soon you may see personal income tax also in Dubai. Uske liye you need to know what is happening globally. Why they did not have income tax till now? Because they have other sources of income. Bro, they have been selling oil to the whole world. And they have so much income with that sale of oil that they never thought of levying any income tax. Few years ago only they realized that in 10 years, I am telling you, in the next 10 years, in next 10, 15 years, these Arabic countries who are banking upon sale of oil to the world are going to be bankrupt. Hoga hi na, bro. World is moving to electric vehicles. Who is going to buy their oil? Pakode talne. Why will people buy their oil? Dubai, they are very smart. They have realized this, and last decade they are developing tourism over. It has become one of the most popular tourism destinations worldwide, in fact. But sale of oil ka income is going to stop. So slowly and gradually they are moving to taxation revenues as well. Corporate income tax they introduced. They introduced Dubai VAT first, 5%. Then they introduced corporate tax, matter of time. So if you want to, contemplate career options post qualification as a chartered accountant, we have such a complicated income tax law that Dubai ka taxation law, you read no morning to evening, you'll understand everything and you'll explain things to people. But they are not understanding. For them it is complicated. We have studied this income tax law. So for us that becomes very easy. And you are going to get an extremely high paying job. Extremely high paying job. Huge number of career opportunities waiting for Indian chartered accountants. And Dubai is not too far, bro. If you move to European countries, if you move to Australia, New Zealand, Indian chartered accountants are everywhere. You see them in US, United Kingdom, everywhere. But of course, they are too far. You are very far away from family, and there is no jet spray also. Sorry, but that's the truth. No, we miss it a lot every time we are out of India. Dubai में ये problem नहीं है, because Dubai, from Mumbai you reach in 3 hours. Bro, that much time people take from Andheri to Borivali in the evening peak hours. You don't know. You start at Andheri. Andheri is airport also. Okay? One person leave for Dubai, other person leave for Bhayandar. Let's see who reaches first. My bet is on Dubai. So Dubai is not too far. You miss, and traveling is not very expensive. You miss your family, you may come whenever you want. Huge number of opportunities waiting for you. If you want to know career options. But as of now, please understand, there are these countries who have historically not levied any income tax. Many more, but Dubai is popular. But whichever country levies income tax, India for example, thank God it levies income tax, bro, I made a career out of it. Whichever country levies income tax, it will levy on one of these two principles. Globally, there are two principles. For any country which levies income tax on people, there will be two principles of levy of tax. One, there is something called principle of residence. And two, there is something called principle of source. Principle of residence and principle of source. Any country applying the principle of residence will be called your home country, and any country applying the principle of source will be called your host country. If any country levies income tax, it will levy on one of these two principles, one of these two factors. Sir, I'll tell you what this is. First time when you entered a tax class, CA intermediate, do you even recollect that class? No, sir, we didn't go only. हम COVID वाले. At the beginning of your syllabus, you must have been taught that taxpayers will be divided into residents and non-residents. If you are a resident, you have to pay tax on your world income, global income. If you are a non-resident, then still at least you have to pay tax on your Indian income, the income earned in India. Bro, yehi. Go check this. If you are a resident in any country, so that country is going to levy tax on income earned in that country or any other country, global income. That is called principle of residence. If you are a resident in India, you have to pay tax on your global income. Are you aware of this? That is called principle of residence. But supposingly you are a non-resident in India. So you come from a foreign country, you come to India, you stay for a temporary period. In taxation, you are non-resident. And during that temporary stay, you have earned income in India. We will take tax on that because the source of your income is in India. So India, let's talk in Indian context. If India is levying income tax, it will levy either if you are a resident, then which income? Global income, world income. And if you are a non-resident, then still at least on your Indian income. Home country will levy tax on your global income. Host country will levy tax on the income earned in that country. And these are the two principles of levy of tax worldwide. Whichever country levies tax, not just India, a globally accepted concept. Whichever country levies income tax, either you are resident of that country or you have source in that country. On the basis of these two principles, income tax is levied worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, very small concept. And now at the end of this concept, some people are actually getting this feeling. क्या बात कर? Sir, ये तो मेरे को आता था. You get that feeling? But the concept is so important that I will be asking you this again and again, and every time I ask you, you have to participate. Please. Okay? It is in your interest and of course my interest also. So globally there are two principles of levy of tax, that is principle of and principle of. The principle of residence will be applied by the home country and the principle of source will be applied by the home country will tax you on your global income, host country will tax you on your source income, and that is how tax will be paid by assessees across the globe. And somewhere this is going to result in double taxation. Somewhere this. IYKYK. Of course, I will give you an example. You want to try? Kar? Very simple, bro. Very simple. If you are resident of one country and you have income in another country, then both countries will tax that income. Do you understand that? Which will result in something called double taxation, from which we have to give you relief, and for that we have this chapter. Considering the importance of this chapter and this concept, I want your participation. We are doing a chapter called double taxation relief. We are going to give you relief from double taxation, but for that we need to understand double taxation, and for that we need to understand this global concept. So globally there are two principles of levy of tax, that is residence and principle of source. Principle of residence will be applied by the home country and principle of source will be applied by the. Is everyone understanding this? This brings me to that concept that we actually wanted to learn, the meaning of double taxation. Double taxation has been divided into two types. There is something called juridical double taxation and some authors of taxation also call this jurisdictional double taxation. Some tax authors. So which author ka book we have to buy for self-study purposes? Which extra book we have to purchase? No, for self-study purposes. जोर से क्या?
Only your books.
Again, louder.
Only your books, sir.
And that you don't have to purchase. As promise, first day promise, all the 5 books will be given as and when ready. Correct है? After doing these 5 books, if you still have scope, नहीं sir और करना, so I will recommend the second best. Too deep, bro. So some authors call it jurisdictional double taxation. Meaning is same only, and short form is also same. Jurisdictional, juridical, J only. So doesn't matter. And there's one more concept called economic double taxation. Juridical double taxation and economic double taxation. We'll learn their meanings one by one. We'll write the meaning of juridical and economic under them respectively, and then we will do an example of both of them so that you understand what exactly is happening. Juridical double taxation ka definition says, when the same person on the same income is getting taxed twice. We are taxing the same person, same income. The feature is this: same person, same income. Same person, same income. Bolo to jara. I want you to say this: same person, same income. Same person, same income. Then that will be considered as juridical double taxation. Now let's talk about something called economic double taxation. Of course, it is double taxation. So this part stays the way it is. Will there be double taxation? Yes, sir. On the same income? Yes, sir. On the same income, we are levying tax. But the difference is, ladies and gentlemen, this is on one amount, 2 people will be paying tax. This is the difference between juridical and economic double taxation. If the same person is paying tax twice, we call it juridical double taxation. And if different people are paying tax on the same income, we call it economic double taxation. Okay. So what is the definition? Juridical ka same person, same income, tax twice. And economic? Sir, we will have to understand them with the help of examples. Without examples, we will not understand. I'll first take example of economic double taxation. Okay. Economic double taxation. Everybody is with me? Supposingly there is a company X Limited that pays audit fees to a CA. rupees 1 lakh. Is it a very normal transaction? Bro, we all need this transaction in life. Is this 1 lakh taxable income of the CA? Stupid question. I'm insulting if I'm asking this. Is this 1 lakh taxable income of the CA? Of course. There is a twist in the story, bro. Twist in the story. The twist is that this fee was paid in cash. A company has paid audit fees to a CA in cash. Okay, wait. This amount of 1 lakh, first, is it taxable for CA? Irrespective of the mode in which it is received, the CA as a recipient has to pay tax on this 1 lakh. Now let's talk about the company. You may not know this provision of profits and gains of business or profession because of my assumption of how you cleared CA income. But I'm just telling you, I'm not teaching you this. I'll teach you this when I do the chapter business profession. I am telling you that whenever we make cash expenditure in excess of rupees 10,000, then we as a payer will not get deduction. So company के लिए the expense for X Limited, the expense is going to be disallowed in PGBP. When we disallow any expense in PGBP, so in PGBP का presentation we have to add back that amount. You know, I'll tell you the reason. ये expense है. So here company must have written the 1 lakh in the profit and loss account. By that the company has reduced the profit. But because we don't want to give deduction of this expense, what will we do this profit to this profit? We will increase, add back that 1 lakh, and after adding 1 lakh, we will tax the company on that amount. That is known as disallowed expenditure, add back of expenditure. So my final question is this 1 lakh therefore now added in the NTTI of the company? Yes, and therefore company also pays tax on that same 1 lakh. Receiver is paying tax and company is not getting deduction also. That means company is also paying tax. That same 1 lakh is a part of NTTI of both taxpayers. Now read the definition. Are we levying tax twice on that 1 lakh? So yes, it is taxed twice. Same 1 lakh tax twice, but different person. That is economic double taxation. Is that understood? And I must tell you one very important thing about economic double taxation. That economic double taxation ka concept is over here itself. After this, in the entire chapter, there will be no discussion about economic double taxation, because under economic double taxation there is no relief. Relief, if any, will be given. It will be given only for juridical double taxation cases. Economic double taxation mein there will be absolutely no relief. I had to do that concept only to make you understand the meaning. That concept is over and out. For whatever remaining time we do the chapter DTAA, which is today's lecture and the next lecture, we are only talking about juridical double taxation. Economic double taxation ka concept is over and out. Everybody is clear on this? Sir, why no relief? Nothing is bigger than logic, bro. Nothing is bigger than logic. Logic se bada kuch nahi. You got to try by yourself. Sir, why can it be like this? Why? Always try to find out the answer to the question why in any law, and you don't have to learn it. Economic double taxation is basically a punishment for violation of law. We are clearly telling you don't make cash expense of more than 10,000 rupees. Same person, same depot. You're still not complying with the law. We need to punish you, and therefore we are doing it in the nature of punishment. When we are only punishing you, where is the question of giving you relief? Obviously, there will be no relief, because all cases of economic double taxation, this was only an example, all cases of economic double taxation are basically punishment, and therefore there is no relief. Logic number one. Logic two. Everybody is with me? Logic two. Okay. Government is getting taxed twice here, from the CA as well as the company. Correct? Eh? Why are you jealous? You CA. You company. From you we have taken once. What is your problem if we are taking it from anybody else also? If we take it twice from you, then you can ask for relief, no? Show me your hand. Put it in your pocket. And check from your pocket tax has gone how many times? Then what is your problem if we are taxing someone else on this? Government is getting twice, but you are paying only once. No. Then you don't ask for relief. Is the second reason. And of course, it is a punishment. That is also a reason. And that is why there is no relief on economic double taxation. Economic double taxation over and out. Because the chapter ka name is what? Double taxation relief. Bro. That means if at all there is relief, that relief is only under juridical double taxation. Everybody clear about the concept of economic double taxation? No more discussion of economic double taxation. Everyone focuses on juridical double taxation. Definition: same person, same income getting taxed twice. Means there will be double taxation on the same income, but this time it is the same person. This time there is hardship. Because this time, if you again insert your hand in your pocket, you realize that both tax liabilities have been paid by the same pocket. And this takes place because of a concept just taught to you. The most important concept of international tax. That is, globally there are two principles of levy of tax: residence and source. And because of that, there will be double taxation. Let us do an example of this also, so that you have very, very clear understanding. Okay. So Omkar, what's up, bro? Good morning. You don't have advanced ITT now, because you are, towards the better things of life. So I'm going to ask you some personal questions now, and you have to participate. In case you feel that it is, too personal, too offensive, you can back out. In any case, it is only an example. I'll pick up someone else, and I strongly believe there will be someone who is ready to volunteer.
Okay, sir.
Try though. Okay. So your attempt is May 25 or November. And by the way, I am not doing this one-to-one private tuition either. So when I am having a conversation with Omkar, because he is sitting here on the first bench right in front of me, and you generally see jo roast shows hota, you see roast is a form of comedy. In those shows, the general target is the first bencher. Anjali is like, I am safe. No, bro, you never know. Okay. Second row is also not too safe. You never know. But abhi ke liye, let's continue with Omkar. So May ke November 25. So your result will be January 26. Jan होएगा. Jan में आ जाता है. November में they conduct exam. January के first week में you will be CA Omkar. What surname you use?
Devade.
उसमें why were you laughing at your own surname? मतलब वही पूछ रहा हूँ. What is your surname? My question was that. मतलब क्या लगाते हो नाम के आगे? Surname. Devade. CA Omkar. See how it sounds to you. Get that feel. Let that sink in. CA Omkar Devade. Does that sound good? Does that give you a feel? Fantastic. While you were waiting for your results, okay, we are Indians. So I'll tell you what our families do. When the child has appeared for CA final, they assume that you are going to pass. We are Marwadis. Our parents assume exam diya, pass to hoga na. So between exam and results, when we are focusing on our career, our parents start thinking of our auction. And with a professional degree, you know what? The moment you have a degree and CA in front of you, so in that marriage market, 1, 2, 3 sold tuck at the strike of the hammer. So during this period, they have auctioned you. So somewhere in the month of February, January mein result aaya. You are a chartered accountant. February के first week में that is marriage season. हाँ. 14th December is last. 15 December से 13 January तक weddings नहीं होता है. Then 14 January मकर संक्रांति onwards auspicious मुहूर्त starts again. We all know that. तो February में 14 Feb को you want to get married? हाँ चलेगा. I have got no problem, bro. You get married on रक्षा बंधन तो मेरे को क्या problem है? 14 Feb को you get married. चले. And then immediately thereafter you want to go for your post marriage picnic. So where would you like to? अभी के personal questions are not over as yet. अभी तो they have started. Where would you like to go? अच्छा, where do you stay? मुलुंड only. So don't say कि sir मला ठाणे जायचं आहे. Picnic साठी. Where do when I say that I mean a foreign country, please. Switzerland. Oh, beautiful place, I must say. Beautiful. those the Jungfrau that is considered as the top of Europe, and Mount Titlis mein even today DDLJ ka that cutout, Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol ka cutout, they have put Switzerland. Awesome country. But then I'll tell you one thing, Omkar, that this choice, you can't make alone. Matlab, let me be clear. Of course, you can't make it only. So you just have to ask, ma'am, where do you want to go? And it is based on that. That's one thing. And one more thing, I think that is, not the best season to go to the northern hemisphere. So considering the geography, till April, it is better to go to countries like Australia and New Zealand. Southern hemisphere, no, usme winter start nahi hota. It's the basic geography. Okay. So preferably, I am changing your destination. So Australia and New Zealand are better places to go at that time. Turkey mein to bro, you will come back alive or no? While we speak, there is a blast out. Turkey hai bro. Bro, I'll tell you what, you go wherever you want to. Okay? I am only suggesting that considering the weather, it is better to go to Australia, New Zealand, those countries. So finally, Omkar asked ma'am. Ma'am said कि अगर combo कर सकता है Australia, New Zealand, you can do combined also, but you need a longer time, like 15-20 days, because both countries at least 10 days, 15 days are required, considering the number of cities out there. You decided to go there. You were carrying a lot of currency, Australian currency, आपका New Zealand dollar, etc. But you realize one big problem. The girl who you got married to was Guju. So don't get offended, please. It's only an example. So normal people, have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She has one meal every hour. ऐसा मतलब Gujus are born to eat. मतलब every few minutes she is like भूख लग रहा है, hungry. अच्छा, you are newly married. You can't say कि नहीं eat only. Just imagine, you qualified chartered accountant are not even able to provide food to your newly married wife. So bro, then when you come back to India, you will be alone only. So then you don't bargain with her. You buy her food whenever she is hungry. अभी क्या है, foreign countries में there is a problem कि you go to a store, coke पीने का मन हो रहा है. Bro, वो coke है $5. देखने वाले ₹5 का. Bro, that's not ₹5. When you were planning to go to Switzerland, वो Swiss franc ₹100 का. Bro, there is an Indian restaurant ₹400 का रोटी and ₹2,500 का सब्जी. Now for them it is 25 Swiss francs. Bro, इधर ₹2,500. You understand the maths here, but you can't say no, na? Newly married, no. So you buy, all your cash gets poured. No worries. You are also carrying plastic money, currency, credit cards. So you thereafter, because see, paisa is over. She's still hungry every few hours. Okay, 30 meals per day. She does not stop here also. Then you start using your credit card. Every time you swipe your card there, one SMS comes here. Your account has been debited. And family members, what the hell is going on? They block your card. So now you have no cash, no credit card. You only have a hungry wife. Now what to do? Finally, Omkar, you can't tell your newly married wife that I don't have money to buy food for you. So what you do is, finally you take up a temporary job there only in Australia. बोला अभी देखो, return ticket is booked. They sanction your visa only if you show them the return ticket, because they want to ensure that you will leave their country. ऐसा नहीं कि you go there and then you tell them I don't have money to go back. Then their government has to sponsor the ticket. They have to deport you. So they, before giving you the visa, will insist on your return ticket, on your hotel bookings, etc. All when you declare all those documents. In fact, they also ask for income tax ka records. They want to check if you have any running income, any assets in India. For that you will return. Otherwise, they have the fear you will permanently settle out there. So return ticket is booked, but there are still 5 days remaining. And then during those 5 days, you have no money for food and still a hungry wife. So now what? Bro, you, for those temporary days, whichever number of days remaining, you take up a temporary job there in New Zealand. So the whole story is, Mr. O, because we took his example, is a resident of, because we took Omkar, you want to keep yourself in the example to make it Mr. V. but you are still minor, तो अभी time है, don't get over excited. Mr. O, resident of which country? India, because you are there only for a temporary trip. You spend 182 days in India, and you have earned income in Australia, New Zealand, any of the two countries. Let's take an example of that income, rupees 100. I know that over there you will not be earning in rupees. You will obviously be earning in New Zealand dollar. And secondly, it won't be only 100 rupees, because 100 rupees is 2 New Zealand dollars. Australia, New Zealand का currency is 50 rupees. Dubai is 25 rupees. इसलिए Dubai is still cheaper, because vada pav is 5 dirham in Dubai and 5 Swiss francs in Switzerland. तो वहां का 5 dirham becomes only 125 rupees, but that 5 becomes 500 rupees. ये इतना गैप है. Okay, so only for example purposes in equivalent Indian rupees 100. Mr. O, resident of, you have to participate. Yeah. Income in example of that income. The question is this income going to be taxable? Is this income going to be taxable in India? One question. Is this income going to be taxable in New Zealand? Second question. Let's answer that one by one. First, is this income going to be taxable in India? Yes. You have earned in New Zealand. I want that confidence. Is it taxable in India? Yes, because you are a resident. India will levy the principle of residence, because India is your home country, and therefore yes, India mein there is going to be tax. Example, 30 rupees ka tax, because income is 100 and we are assuming that you are in 30% bracket, and this is a strong assumption, because one, you are going for a foreign picnic, so I am assuming that you are going with your own money, not gifted by your father-in-law, and second, you are a qualified chartered accountant in my example, so 30% is acceptable. In any case, it is an example. So India mein you have to pay tax of 30, because India is your home country. It will apply the principle of residence. Ye correct hai? In New Zealand, you are a non-resident, because you are there only for a temporary period. Is this income taxable in New Zealand? Non-resident hai. But the source is in New Zealand, and therefore New Zealand will also levy tax. Principle of source, because New Zealand is your host country. And let us take an example. New Zealand के अंदर income tax का rate is 40. So no, it is an example. Now tomorrow don't bring any PDF, any Google knowledge. ये Google knowledge से refrain ना please. Anything you don't understand, चलो Google पे search करते हैं. Bro, if everything Google knew, then why are we even coming to class every day morning? Okay. सर आपने तो बोला था न्यूजीलैंड में 40% है, न्यूजीलैंड ओनली 35%. ब्रो, इट इज एन एग्जांपल. वन, वी आर नॉट हियर टू लर्न न्यूजीलैंड का इनकम टैक्स लॉ. आई टेल यू व्हाट, पहले इंडिया का तो लर्न. नहीं, इंडिया का लर्न. द डे यू मेक अ क्लेम दैट आई नो एवरीथिंग ऑफ द इंडियन इनकम टैक्स लॉ, आई विल टॉक अबाउट अदर कंट्रीज का टैक्सेशन लॉ. सो इट्स ओनली एन एग्जांपल. तो अंडरस्टैंड नाउ व्हाट इज दैट. ओमकार हैज अर्न्ड 100 rupees in New Zealand. On that 100, please understand, is this 30 the tax that you are paying in India? Is this 30 a tax that you are paying on 100? Are yes or no? And is this 40 also from the same 100? So question is, this 30 and this 40, are both of them being paid by the same person? Yes, first line. And are both of them being paid on the same income? Yes, second line. When the same person, so here is where I link this, same person on the same income, correct? So many arrows not required. It will, become easy for you to identify also. Same person, Mr. O, can you see that? Same income, 100. Is he getting taxed twice? That is juridical double taxation. And this is a case where you will actually get some relief. Because understand, name of the assessee, Mr. O, resident of
India.
income in, example of that income, amount of income. From that 100, he has to pay tax in India rupees, tax in New Zealand rupees. So total tax on 100. Just imagine you go to a foreign country, work hard over there. That also in your post-marriage picnic, you earn 100 rupees over there, and from that 170 is going away because both government want tax. So what are you left with? What are you left with? Bro, not even the wife. I was just gonna come to that. He's like, what are you left with? He's saying wife. No, because by the end of this, there is a high probability that you are not left with a wife also. Bro, you don't have funds to feed your wife, that also newly married. See, 10 years later, so she will eat your brain, suck your blood. That is her diet. Okay, but that is 10 years later, bro. When you're newly married, no, the quantum of love is on a higher side. But if you don't have money to buy food, bro, there is no love. This is, even if we keep the funny side aside, this is a big problem globally. Please understand. On one hand, we are trying to make the globe one big market. There should be free flow of trade, industry, goods, services from one country to the other. And on the other hand, we are imposing taxes. Both governments are imposing taxes. So in that case, just imagine Omkar will be like, bro, unnecessarily I went to Australia. I worked hard and so much money, 70% of my income is going away in the form of taxes. Isse better to ye hai that I stay in India and earn only 80 rupees instead of 100. Think about it. On that 80, I will pay 24 rupees tax, 30%. I will still be left with a good amount. Do you understand? Much higher than what I otherwise have. Why to go away from family? Do you understand? And this will result in a hindrance, a problem for free flow of goods and services globally. Somewhere we need to solve this problem, and therefore it is these cases of juridical double taxation that will be eligible for relief. As clearly told to you earlier, and one more time, there is absolutely no relief under economic double taxation, because from your pocket the tax is going only once. From the same pocket, tax goes twice only under juridical double taxation, and consequently relief will be given only and only under juridical double taxation. Economic double taxation mein there is absolutely no relief. Ye clear hai? So from now, if in this chapter we are talking about giving or granting any kind of relief, so let's be clear, we are only talking about cases of juridical double taxation. In all the cases of juridical double taxation, where same person has been taxed twice on the same income, which will happen when one country is applying principle of residence, the home country, and the other country is applying the principle of source, that is host country. When the same person on the same income will get taxed twice, it will result in double taxation, that is juridical double taxation. And because both taxes are going from your pocket, we will be giving you relief. From here, this chapter is all about bringing 70 to a lower number. What is relief? Think about it. As of now, what is my total tax liability across the world? 70. Somewhere this is creating hardship. We have to bring it to a lower number. And when we bring your tax to a lower amount compared to 70, do you understand? We are giving you relief. We are reducing your liability. This chapter is about calculation of that reduction from 70. How much are we going to reduce? I'll tell you the probabilities. Probability 1. India can enter in this picture and tell Mr. O that Mr. O, we understand that you are going and bringing money from a foreign country. We are happy that you're bringing. But if this double tax is causing hardship, okay, do one thing, don't pay tax here. That country we can't do anything, so pay over there. Don't pay anything here. That's one possibility. That means, can I say 30 will go away? Only 40 will remain? That means we've reduced 70. Is that relief? Yes, it's a probability. I'm not saying that will happen. It can happen. What can also happen is, New Zealand comes into the picture and says, Indians are a big source of income for New Zealand. Big source. New Zealand, it's a very small country. It majorly thrives on tourism. There are about 2-3. There is a city called Auckland. There is a city called Queenstown. It is divided into two islands, North Island and South Island. So, huge number of Indians go for their so-called post-marriage picnic to New Zealand. So, we don't want to create an atmosphere where Indians start choosing other countries as their destination. Because the world is a world of herd mentality. Herd mentality, bhed chal. When people started going to New Zealand, everyone started going. If they will stop, everyone will stop. ये फैक्ट है, ये फैक्ट है. So they don't want that. So they are coming, bro. Welcome to our country. Atithi devo bhava. Earn whatever you want. Don't pay us tax. They can actually live there for free. So you just pay 30 in India. Still reduction of 70. So possibility 1, home country granting relief. Possibility 2, host country. These are possibilities. Third possibility. Why should I leave? Is a thought of both Indian government as well as New Zealand. Little you compromise, little I compromise. Both of them reduce their tax liability by half. So India ki government is saying, don't pay us 30, pay us only 50 because you have to pay there also. And New Zealand is saying, okay, pay us 20. So yes, you are still paying tax in both countries. But you're paying half. 70 has become 35, no, 15 and 20. That can also be a way of giving you relief. See, relief can be given by reduction of tax in the home country, by reduction of tax in the host country, by reduction of tax in both countries. End of the day, the target is to bring 70 to a lower number. And if we subtract or reduce anything from 70, that means we have granted you relief. And this chapter is about calculation of that relief under juridical double taxation cases. What I just now discussed with you are possibilities. As we go further, we will discuss exactly what will happen. Right now, I spoke about the possibilities. Home country, host country, half. But exactly what will happen, that we will discuss under this heading relief. Are you understanding? So before we start that calculation of relief, because it is this calculation that will come in your exam for those 6 to 8 months. You have to be clear about the concepts. We are doing a chapter called faster you participate, better it is for you. Double taxation, relief. We have to give you relief, that is reduction of, now I can say reduction of an amount from 70 ka tax liability. For that we need to know what is double taxation, and for that we need to know the most important concept of international tax. Every chapter of international tax, you open the chapter, this concept will come. Globally there are 2 principles of levy of tax, that is principle of residence and principle of source. Principle of residence will be applied by the, principle of source will be applied by the. Because of that, there will be double taxation. Double taxation can be of 2 types, that is juridical and economic double taxation. In both cases, there will be tax on the same income, double tax on the same income. Under juridical double taxation, it will be on the same person. Under economic double taxation, it will be on different person. So the definition of juridical double taxation is 3 points. Same person, same income, getting taxed twice. And the definition of economic double taxation is different persons, same income, getting taxed twice. Because in economic double taxation, tax is going from your pocket only once. And also it is in the nature of punishment. There will be no relief, no relief, no relief. That concept is over and out. If at all we are giving relief, we are giving only under juridical double taxation, because both liabilities are going from your pocket. And that can happen when you are resident of one country and you have source in another country and both countries are levying tax. In our example, and for the rest of this chapter, somewhere at the side of your brain, what do you call it? Side of your brain? Kopcha, kopra. What do you call it? Side of your brain. Store this 30 plus 40 equal to 70. Because throughout the chapter, I am going to make references to reduce 30, reduce 40, reduce 70. So you should be aware which 30, 40, 70 I am talking about. 30 kaun sa? Tax payable in. 40 is tax payable in. Total tax being. And target is to reduce this 70 to 70 to a lower number, and for that we have this chapter only for juridical double taxation. This relief from juridical double taxation can be provided in 2 ways. There is a concept called bilateral relief, which will be given to you under section 90 and 90A of Income Tax Act. And then there is a subsequent concept called unilateral relief, which will be given to you under section 91 of income tax. Bilateral relief is under section 90 and 90A. Unilateral relief is under section 91, bro. Bilateral relief, unilateral relief. The word bi and this term uni, they both signify a number. You want to guess? Uni matlab one. Who said single? Tu bolo. Bro, CA student, don't come out with your pain here. We know we are hashtag single nahi forever. क्या बोलना
maybe
bro, so you met someone recently? Oh, bro, I'll also tell you recently there was Raksha Bandhan. कोई बात नहीं bro. Let's focus on the class. Okay, my best wishes. Okay, चलो छोड़ो bro. Uni means one and bi means two. Okay, somewhere in these terms is hidden the meaning of these two concepts. Under bilateral relief, what is going to happen is both governments, so in our example the government of India and the government of New Zealand will cooperate with each other and enter into a double taxation avoidance agreement, treaty or convention with each other. Let's be clear, DTAA is an agreement. It is not an agreement between two assessees. It is not an agreement between assessee and government. It is not an agreement between assessee and income tax department of India or New Zealand. It is an agreement between the two governments. Government of India entering into an agreement with government of New Zealand. You can call it the Indo-NZ tax treaty, the Indo-Nepal treaty. There is Indo-Pakistan treaty also. Indo-China treaty. There is Indo-US treaty. Government entering into an agreement with the other country. Then that will be called bilateral relief. This is possible only and only if there is cooperation between the two governments. You understand this or not? Understand how this will take place practically. Okay. We already have the situation of Omkar in front of us. Very quickly. Resident of? Income in? Example income? Tax in India? Tax in New Zealand? And total tax? This is creating trouble. Indians now no longer want to go to New Zealand. And Kiwis, we call New Zealand ka people Kiwis. Well, they're New Zealand ka people, they don't want to come to India. And Modi ji realizes this problem. Modi ji is very sharp that way. Once you are Gujju, know whether you are educated, not educated, in monetary matters, you are extremely sharp. And immense respect for that. So what Modi ji realizes is not just New Zealand, but worldwide, there will be a problem for Indians to go and that country ka people to come. So one by one, he is making phone calls. Kem cho bhai, kem cho ben. He is like, wo Putin ko. New Zealand was an example, no? It can be Russia, Putin, Biden. This year, I think US elections be scheduled. So you never know whether it will be Biden or anybody else. No? Biden is not contesting only. Kamala Harris is that party ka, Biden ki party ka. And Trump, Mr. Dolan Trump. You remember that Namaste Trump wala event? Just before COVID? Fantastic. Bro, who is the member of parliament from your area, Mulund West? And member of Legislative Assembly? Assembly, MLA? Till which year?
This whole elections.
नहीं तो क्या है, there are so many people like America में who is contesting against whom I am aware of that. I don't know who is the MP and MLA from my area. And why are they talking in an accent I don't understand? खाली जाऊन मराठी मध्ये बोलतो. Why are they even? I don't understand. Good, you know. Otherwise, I would have roasted you badly. Of course. We have the chief minister from this part of the city, so having that awareness is acceptable also. Chalo, fantastic. Matlab right now the chief minister. Okay, focus please. So the thing is that Modi ji, the clever Gujju he is one by one making phone calls, bhai, ben, except Miloni, of course. So he can't be, Miloni ko how can he, Miloni, he is like, I can't use the word that he must be using on the phone, but Zara kabhi. No, Modi ji has got plans that, see, he is near completion of that phase where he is going to break the record of Jawaharlal Nehru of the longest serving prime minister of the country. And once he does that, his future plans are to permanently settle in Italy. You didn't know this? And so many songs. Modi ji ke sound mein, Modi ji ke voice mein, you've heard those songs or no romantic songs? Gulabi saadiyan neela. You've heard Modi ji ki, you heard, I believe. Then stop calling yourself Gen Z otherwise. So Modi ji is one by one calling bhai ben for a tea, and Miloni is already here. She will serve the tea on Modi ji's behalf. She is already here. So basically, Modi ji is calling them, inviting them, and making them understand the problem. Okay, me Modi, you put in. Me Modi, you hi put in. Bol hi Modi. See, understand. People from my country have come to your country. People from your country will come to my country. Both countries are levying tax, and people will stop coming. Somewhere we need to be sensible. Somewhere we need to be reasonable, logical. You leave tax in some cases. I leave tax in some cases. Let us mutually agree that in all the cases, home country will take tax. That means in this example, India will get tax. You have to leave. New Zealand was an example, no? You have to leave. But if someone from your country comes here, then we will leave. See, it always has to be mutual. It has to be two-way. Unlike your one-sided love, it can't work. In finance matters, it can't work like that. It has to be both ways. Alternate option is, let's give a case where host country ultimately deserves more tax if you think about it logically. Because that land has generated. So what we can agree upon is that this time you take because he has earned income in your country. But next time if someone from your country comes and earns here, then we will take, then you leave. We can make a pact. Kya pact, sir? Home country will take, then in all the cases home will take. Host country will take, then that way. Or alternatively, we can also do that, you and me both make it half, so that none of us have to leave. Reduce the otherwise applicable tax rate. In some cases, governments do blanket reduction. Bola half kar de. In some cases, you know what governments do? Income by income, they change tax rate. To give you an example, just to give you a little idea about global international tax, how it works. In India, normally non-residents have to pay 20% tax on interest. If you earn interest in India, we will levy 20% special rates. Non-resident ke liye, dividend income, interest income, all that is taxable at a special rate of 20%. But I have an agreement with your country. If your country ka person comes, we will keep it 5. 10. Anything lower than the otherwise applicable rate. So we can have reduction in tax rate, income by income also. Everything will be written in the DTAA, the Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement, Treaty, Convention, and agreement between the two countries. You understood this, everyone? So whenever both governments cooperate, there will be a treaty between the two governments, and that treaty will be known as a Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement. Meaning is clear? Okay. Now, as the word uni, signifies a number, that is 1. What is happening here is, unfortunately, there is non-cooperation between the two governments. And because of this non-cooperation, unfortunately, there is no double taxation avoidance agreement, treaty or convention between the two governments. So if I have to give you some statistics, roughly there are 200 countries in the world, for those who didn't know this. Okay, किसी को पूछता how many countries in the world? 5,000. माथा तेरा 5,000 cities also are not there. Roughly, it is I think 196 or 197. There is this debate about that one country, वो Vatican country है कि नहीं है. There is always a fight about. Let's pick round figure. 200 countries in the world. Out of 200 countries, India has already had a treaty with roughly 117, 118 countries. So let's take that also as round figure. 120 countries. मतलब 200 countries में से 120 countries have already entered into a treaty with India, which is 60% of the world, which still means there is another 40%, there is another 80 countries, roughly, example, round figure, 80 countries in the world which do not have a treaty with India. And these are cases of non-cooperation. So what we should stop going to those countries. No. What kind of non-cooperation? Please understand. Modi ji was here. Remember inviting world leaders over a cup of tea because he makes good tea? He was inviting people over a cup of tea. You remember that? Is it possible that when Modi ji invited that other leader, first of all, did not receive his phone? Less likely in today's atmosphere and environment, we make all the fun of Modi ji sometimes when he deserves it. But then one thing we all have to agree that he has definitely projected India as a powerful country worldwide. Matlab, now we no longer belong to that situation where he will call and people will not answer the phone. At least that is never going to take place. Okay, we have to give him the credit for what he has contributed also, but for that matter we have to give credit to the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and Rajiv Gandhi also. I think India has IITs or India has All India Institute of Medical Science only because of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. India has computers only because of Rajiv Gandhi. I think if we make the list of best prime ministers of the country, no, Rajiv ji will fall in the top 3. There is computer technology in India. Computers are in India only and only because of Rajiv Gandhi. But of course, that does not mean that Arjun Tendulkar can open the innings for India. Too deep. You said you follow politics. By the way, I have not named any political leader. Correct, hai na? Haan. Why vote for me? Why? Because my father was good. No, my grandmother was good. Lucky thug life is good. So we have to give them credit for what they have contributed. Ultimately, all of them have held the post of Prime Minister of the country and the most powerful and respected post of the country. We must know how to respect our own Prime Minister. The point is that today's scenario, not answering the phone call is less likely. But after answering the phone call, next step is like Modi ji is like, I want to meet you. Is it possible that some of the world leaders don't meet only? Likely, yes. But again, less likely because of Modi. But the third possibility, think about it. Modi ji invited, that other country ka leader came, they sat across a table, they decided their terms and conditions. Modi ji is insisting that you leave the tax as the host country. We will take New Zealand wala example. We are the home country, we will take, you leave. On the understanding what if your people will come, then you take. But then New Zealand is saying, sir, what is the probability of my people coming? See, Indians go for holiday to New Zealand. New Zealand ka people come for holiday here. Where? Talopali, Thane. Indians come for holiday here. नहीं, just asking. मतलब New Zealand का people come for holiday here, India में. नहीं, what do they want to see Dharavi? नहीं, just asking, bro. Then that government will not agree, no. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is it possible that the world leader has come, he met our leader, but they were not willing to decide or finalize their terms and conditions? Bro, today if I'm working with 5 organizations across the country, I have negotiated with 50. Any coaching class owner calls me that I want to have an association with you as an independent faculty. I don't work whole time for any organization. The moment I step into the office, in fact, before stepping into the office, my first conditions are my books will go under my name and logo. Except the class ka books, that if you want you can give, but otherwise the extra wala books will go. I am spending 4 months in a year to make that intellectual property and you will put your stamp, unacceptable. Otherwise, let's not conduct the meeting only. I told you no. Meeting ke liye disagree hogi because first hand discussion only has failed. Next is, first of all, you will have to give backup to all the students. It is all these coaching classes. Believe me, you want to believe or you know, I leave the choice to you. All the coaching classes that I am working with, once upon a time, until a year ago, there was no concept of giving recorded backup to students. No, I insisted that you will give recorded backup not just of my lectures, but for all other lectures of all other subjects. At all levels from FYJC to CA final. 11th standard to CA final, now they are giving that. Every classroom has got this recording infrastructure. And the vendor, the person who made the app, the person who is doing encryption, everything I have provided to the coaching organization, not just at one place but everywhere. Thankfully, the people I work with respect me so much that if I say something, they always follow. So with time, they had to change. But time, please, let me be clear. If you are incorporating these systems also, my recording will take place under my name, under my logo, under my brand, and for backup also, you have to access my app. If you are comfortable, then I am coming, otherwise I am not coming. These are my primary conditions. My non-monetary conditions are more important than the monetary conditions. And therefore, out of 50 coaching class owners whom I have spoken to, 45 ke saath, it did not work in the first phone call itself. They are like, no, we are very rigid about our policy. We can't keep the faculty ka name in the video or faculty ka brand ka logo in the video. So I am also very particular about my policy. And intellectual property I am creating. What are you giving me? Classroom, take rent. I can afford it. What is your contribution? Thank you very much. Can't work with you. Sorry. So please understand, I, below basic exemption limit faculty, such a poor guy, am negotiating like this with coaching class owner at such a micro level. Do you understand? We are talking about the countries ka governments being involved here. At that macro level, there will always be terms and conditions acceptable or unacceptable to one government or the other. Was that too fast? You understood what I just said? So it is very much likely that the two governments are not able to finalize their terms and conditions, which is why there is no DTAA between them, and we still have about 80 such countries in the world where there is no DTAA. Now, when there is a DTAA, have both governments cooperated? And we can very easily calculate the relief as per the DTAA. But unfortunately, where there is no agreement, just imagine a case where Omkar ka exam, which was that other country involved? New Zealand. If there is agreement between India and New Zealand, then the relief will be as per the agreement, that is bilateral relief. But just in case India does not have an agreement, example, and New Zealand was an example, it could have been country ABC, anything. If we don't have an agreement, so first of all, we cannot do anything about 40. Now you know which 40 I am talking about. That country ka tax, because there is no cooperation, you have to pay that 40. Sorry dear taxpayer, we can't do it. If at all we can do something, we can do it with respect to, guess karo, the 30 that we are charging, we can do something about it. And that means it is only a one-sided relief being provided by government of India, and which is why we call it, ladies and gentlemen, unilateral relief, because only government of India is coming forward to provide you this relief. So basically, in comparison terms, if you want to understand the meaning of bilateral and unilateral, when both governments cooperate with each other and enter into a treaty, the relief will be provided on the basis of what is written in the treaty. Calculation will be done on the basis of what is given in the treaty. And that will be called a case of bilateral relief. But when that other country is not cooperating with us for one reason or the other, then bro, Indian government can't do anything about that country ka tax. It can do anything only about own tax, which in our example is 30. But what if I tell you, see if you agree or disagree, any reduction from 30 is a reduction from 70. Calculator pe check kar. Reduction from 30 is a reduction from 70. You agree, no? That means it is still a case of relief, but because only one government is involved, we call it unilateral. So when both governments are involved, bilateral relief. But when only government of India comes forward to give you that relief, then it will be called unilateral relief. These are the two ways in which, ladies and gentlemen, relief can be or will be provided in the chapter. And to calculate this exact relief and reduce that 70 to the final answer is the type of question that will come in your exam. If we have to talk about the exam orientation, see, we are doing all, if you now realize, general knowledge ka study, we spoke about geography. That month is better to go. You know, you should be having an all-round understanding of what is the discussion that is taking place in class. General knowledge ka, we have fun also if we talk about Modi ji and Miloni. We have fun about his post-marriage picnic. We have technical discussion and then we complete it or discuss it in simple language also. At the end of the day, you should be going home thinking, हाँ ये chapter अब हो गया. 15 minutes में I can revise the full chapter. Okay, and believe me, whatever we have done till now, whatever we have finished till now, one, that global principles of levy of tax, Second, 2 types of double taxation. And then third, 2 ways of providing relief only under juridical. You know all the answers. That means whatever we have done in the chapter till now, learn ho gaya in class itself. Your task after the class gets over is 15 minutes mein go through. Today itself, your task is over. But if you do that after 1 week, then together you have to study for 1 week. Study every day and see the difference. Okay, okay. I know you're not going to listen, but I just keep on saying this. Even if some students listen, we see the change in result. And thoda offensive way, it may hurt you, but the fact is that end of the day, my passing percentage or my results are far better than ICAI average in terms of total results. But it is still not 100%. So supposingly institute ka passing percentage is 30, so my passing percentage is 90. And there are still 10% students who are not cleared despite attending the same lectures. I am going to advertise those 90% of results. And if you fall in that 10%, it is because you did not follow my instructions. Only you are responsible for that result. So end of the day, I want to make sure that you fall in that 90, but whether ultimately you want to come in that part or no is also in your control. I can do only to the extent I can. So I'll keep on saying this, that revise every day, revise every day, revise every day. If you change your mind, if you actually start following this, so good, no, our number will keep on increasing. Okay, but it will happen only both ways. It can never happen with me alone. Are we clear on this? Now, what are we left with in the chapter? I am going to give a heading, bilateral relief. A little understanding you got, no, with the meaning that we just now discussed. Meaning of bilateral relief. Little you understood, no, about bilateral? Okay. Chal yaar. Give the heading of bilateral relief, and we are going to discuss the whole concept of bilateral in detail. Once we are done with this, we will give a heading, unilateral relief, and discuss that in detail. Chapter over. To finish this chapter, what are we now required to do? Bilateral relief, detailed discussion. Unilateral relief, detailed discussion. Chapter khatam, over. Everyone is clear? So let's talk about bilateral relief. When both governments cooperate with each other and therefore enter into an agreement called double taxation avoidance agreement, treaty or convention, that situation is going to be called kya bro? Bilateral relief. I hope you are not thinking kya sir, one line mein you are writing 3 points, you are rushing with the portion, not even explaining. नहीं क्यों? और सिखाओगे? नहीं, I already taught this. Yeah, और सिखाओगे? आगे आएगा नहीं. Talking about these 3 points. Why? Are the same 3 points that we understood when we were comparing bilateral and unilateral. When both governments, remind karu, that other world leader came, we sat down on a table, we discussed the terms and did the treaty, which we have done with 60% of the world. When both governments cooperate with each other and enter into a treaty, it will be called the bilateral relief, and that treaty will be called double taxation avoidance agreement. So now we are doing cases where both governments are involved in giving you relief. That means we are actually going to reduce 70, and under unilateral relief we are going to reduce 30. Now you understand? So let's go ahead. Let's go further with bilateral. Next, the calculation of relief is what we have to study. It is different in every DTAA. If India has entered into 120 agreements, the 30, 40, 70 can happen with 120 countries. The calculation is not same in all those cases. It can never be same. It can never be same. One business idea I am giving you, job idea I am giving you, it is going to help you in your career. That day when you go for job, and the company where you are giving your interview, they give you your salary ka offer. And while giving that salary ka offer, if they ever use this line, that starting salary is this for everyone in our organization, this is fixed, please be ready with the answer. It can never be fixed. But for that, you need to bring to the table something more than what other people are bringing. Obviously, you have to tell them it can never be the same. Terms and conditions can never be same for everyone. You can't be saying nahi, mera sabke saath it's like that only. It does not work like that. I'll give you an example. Until few years ago, when I used to travel to Ahmedabad, Kerala for lecture, 4 months in a year I used to be out. The condition was with those organizations that the moment I step out of my house, you have to pay for every rupee of expense. From my house I take a taxi to the airport. Yeah, Ahmedabad, I used to take my own car. That air ticket, at the destination, the pickup car to take me to the hotel ka stay charges, the food charges, bracket mein likha, you can't ask me how much do you eat, why do you eat so much. So that is my problem. Unlimited supply of mineral water, because I can't be relying on that local source of water. The reason is simple, that those who drink it every day can digest it, but those who can't, so next day morning I will not be able to take the lecture. Only if you understand these conditions, every rupee till I come back home you have to pay. Now tell me how much you will pay me for touching. And they used to give me every expense that I incurred in course of that trip, plus teaching ka amount, which was very less, of course. But of course, it gave me exposure to wide audience in such a way that today 80% of South India is learning from my lectures. 80-90% of South India is learning from my lectures. It gave me that exposure. So I compromised on that teaching ka fees wala part, because pocket ka expense was not there. No expense they were paying. If I compare this with coaching organizations of Mumbai, bro, they don't pay a single penny of expense, single rupee also. So if I have to travel for 60 kilometers every day for your lecture, 30 coming, 30 going, 60 kilometers ka traveling hai, I am still here at 6:30, before 6:30. That fuel I pay from my own pocket. Every expense of taking the batch is from my pocket. And stop guessing, अच्छा तो teaching का ज़्यादा होगा ना? Bro, no, I must tell you off late, that is also too less. Don't make me show my pain now, otherwise I'll go in a certain zone, I am telling you. But then see, Mumbai ke organizations I clearly tell that my expenses are very high, and therefore you have to pay me at least double of outside wala organizations, because expenses I am incurring. What I'm making you understand here is financial terms and conditions can never be same with everyone, even at micro levels. So obviously at the macro level, you can't be making a global blanket rule that in all cases in the world home country will get tax, host country will get tax. It is India sitting with New Zealand, we can have a rule home country will get tax. India sitting with Australia, we can say host country will get tax. India sitting with US, we can say you reduce your tax rate 50-50. India sitting with another country, Russia, we can say that certain incomes like interest, royalty, dividend, you reduce tax rates, other incomes you can keep the normal tax rates. The terms and conditions, the calculation of relief, whether home country will leave, host country will leave, whether they will reduce their tax rate, by how much they will reduce their tax rate, everything will be written DTAA specific. And calculation given in every DTAA, not just India ka 120 countries. Those 200 countries must have entered into DTAA with other countries also. Every DTAA in the world has got a different calculation. Every DTAA has got a different calculation. If we talk in Indian context, all 120 agreements have got different calculation. So if you really want to become an expert In tax treaties, the day you can claim, okay, sir, I know everything in DTAA, is when you have actually studied 120 agreements. Before that, you cannot call yourself an expert in tax treaties. So recently what happened was, one of my past students, Farzan Fauzdar, November 18 attempt. Sir, ऐसे कैसे याद रखता है आपको name thousands of students you have taught? One, exemption in tax. Two, stayed in touch even after results. And it's, you know, after 2019 तो final के students I have stopped expecting. मतलब believe me, मतलब they clear and they don't bother to inform us. अभी those who don't clear, no, उनको ऐसा लगता है सर अभी amendment किधर से पढ़ूं इधर. Then that is the reason, out of need they contact, and then they say, sir, you know, from my batch that guy or that girl passed. Well, fantastic. Pass, I am happy only for you. But it's, you know, a very sad part as a teacher that I try to do everything that I can, and you don't even bother to communicate your reason. Party nahi mangega, bro. I'll not ask for anything, monetary or non-monetary. I'll only be happy with your happiness. This is also, and final ka students across the country, inter ka students still have something, because they have not been subjected to articleship, no, they still have emotions. Once articleship starts, emotions die. Seriously, bro. ठीक है, मतलब choice is yours. I will be happy to know your result on this. I remember that student who has always been in touch with me all throughout. He called me and said that, sir, I have a friend who wants to do tax return filing. Because I cleared CA, he asked me for reference, but I am already into industry. So I am not having practice. And of course, there are so many people who work in industry, but they, you know, where these days everything can be done online. So while you are sitting in your office, at that time, you know, throughout the day, nobody is keeping a check what you are doing. You can be filing some own clients' returns from that office also. Nobody is going to find out. But sir, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to do that. Will you do it? Sir, will you do return filing? What kind of question is this, bro? I am going to get professional fees for it, and I have a CA firm. Obviously, I will do that. I will do that. So he said, okay, my friend will contact you. That friend, abhi a student is recommending some friend, so we take it as a very normal case, no? And I clearly told him that there will be no bargaining. He said, I know that, sir. There is no bargaining with me. I later find out that the friend is actually a director who directs shows for Netflix. He is a person of Indian origin, matlab, he was born in Kerala, but later shifted to US and is now a US citizen. Comes to India for temporary period, directs those shows and leaves. Of course, I did his tax return filing, but for that tax return filing, because he was a tax resident of US, before giving a final go ahead, finally India mein what is going to be the liability, I had to actually go through the Indo-US agreement on the basis of things applicable. The TDS that got deducted for him here, he got refund after I filed my return, his return, after I filed his return, he got refund. Obviously, as a director, he received professional fees. I asked for a copy of his passport. With that copy of passport, I found out how many days. I am telling you the trick as to how I got some benefit for my client. How you can do this, but please don't share it with other people. Otherwise, you know, you are creating competition. I don't consider you as my competitor. You are the future. So I believe that if you have the knowledge, so you will be able to do good towards the profession in future. By that time, you will be full-fledgedly in the profession. I will already be out of it. So I don't see you as competition. Isla I am telling you. I saw his passport. I wanted to see how many days he was in India, because directing a show takes a time. No, he was in India for 182 days. He was thinking, I am NRI. I realized, bro, he is a tax resident. It was professional fees. I used the provision of income tax law 44 ADA, where only half of his income he has to offer to tax. So TDS was deducted on the entire amount. I planned his calculation in a way that his tax liability was almost eliminated. Almost, not completely. He had given up on that TDS deducted. He was like, both of them, whatever money I have, they want repatriation. Money was in Indian bank account. He wanted to take that money. So that was not possible without certain formalities, tax formalities that I had to do. But he did not just get that money, he also got his tax refund. He was excessively impressed. Then he recommended another friend. Bola, sir, can you do this for my friend also? I was like, yes, fees will be a little higher because now you know how I work. And second, I am not going to give you any share because I did not give any share to Farzan also from your fees. He's like, obviously, I don't know. I see time pass. That friend turned out to be an actress who is an actress in his shows. So again, for her also, I studied the Indo-US treaty one more time to be sure. Indo-US treaty के according, you were supposed to get the refund. So that friend also got refund. अभी normally एक individual का tax return filing का fee how much you can charge? Individual tax return, professional fees. ऐसा भी नहीं है कि too much of equity, equity trading etc. increases or calculation. वो भी off late because of AIS, TIS. No, the calculations are ready only. We don't have to do anything. But it was a case without share trading. 3 to 5,000. 3 to 5,000. So when an article files 2 returns in a month, the cost of that article for that entire month is recovered. Too deep, no bro. 3 to 5,000. For the first guy, the director, I had quoted 25. He paid it. For the lady, I said, ma'am, 30,000. But if you want tax refund, see, I leave the choice to you. She had some refund of 1 lakh or something. Then, I have to work hard, man. You understand these days, calculations have become difficult. Government is strict. We have to extract your refund forcefully from them. For that 1 lakh, I will have to put extra effort. So fees will be 50,000. And if you don't want to pay that extra 20, I am not greedy. No problem. Pay me 30. And don't take your refund. नहीं तो common sense है. If you are getting 1 lakh का refund, will you pay 20 extra? Don't see her 20 extra. See my 20 extra. I got 50,000 for getting a refund of 1 lakh for an individual return. You need to have this smartness. So that one article का 5 months का cost recovered. If you know, you know. But this entire activity of working for these 2 clients required that I go through the Indo-US tax treaty. Without that, even I couldn't have been sure about the calculation. I studied. And then CA practice, which unfortunately kids these days are averse to. They don't want to do it for God alone knows why. Because maybe in employment you get quick money. There is nothing called gestation. First month itself you start earning, good amount. I told you 30% is my guarantee. So which is why today's generation kids are not thinking of practice as an option. Maybe if you think about it, the best part about practice is you need to just set up for the first 3-4 years, 5 years. Maybe you may not be, having too many profits, but thereafter, the clients who have come will never go anywhere. People don't change doctors and CAs. Not easily. So same people will pay you every day. Just imagine the pain of a tax teacher. Every year he has to search for new students. ऐसा होगा कि नहीं sir, you are so good, you are too good in your subject and you look also so handsome, sir, I will take admission in every year का batch. Consider me as permanent in your every year. ऐसा कोई करता है? Bro, no matter how handsome, sir, ऐसे तो you are friendly, I will do a video call if I have to talk to you, and doubts तो I can ask you. So the purpose by which I will take every year admission, that is any which way going to be served without taking admission. ऐसा कोई करता है? But that practice का client will pay you every year. Plus that mouth publicity. You do good work for few people. You don't have to search for work. It will work as a magnet. Settling time लगेगा, but believe me, see, and I am not talking about traditional practice of doing tax audits and stat audits, and I am not that during the due date wala month you are never going home only. I am not talking about the traditional practices. CA practice has undergone massive changes of late. You can have, your generation understands artificial intelligence more than, if you understand, if you are aware of those technical tools, those computer tools, then you can do that practice of advanced level, bring to the table which nobody else does, and people will pay you more than anybody else. Think about it. Think about it. You can think about CA practice. Okay. But yes, for doing that practice, you have to be reading and continuously reading. So Indo-US ka tax treaty, I read, because I knew that I am getting more and more clients. America-based clients with mouth publicity. Let us assume that one fine day I become perfect in the Indo-US tax treaty. Every clause of the Indo-US tax treaty is saved in my brain, just like every section of Income Tax Act is. Fixed. I have become an expert in Indo-US tax treaty. Let us assume that day has come. I can still not calculate Omkar ka relief is what you need to understand, because Omkar has earned income in New Zealand, is what I am trying to make you understand in this whole long story. Is this that you can call yourself an expert on treaties with 120 treaties, and no matter how many times you have read one of the treaties or worked for hundreds of clients, if some other country ka client comes, all your knowledge will go down the drain. Did you understand this? Calculation is different in every DTAA. So when can you actually say that, sir, I am ready for any client, bring it on, baby? Any kind of client, any country ka client. When can you make that claim? Only when you read all the treaties perfectly with all the clauses. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, become an expert if you want to. This is one area where you can actually start your practice, because with globalization, you will always have people from other countries. Never target your local clients and never target your relatives. They are of no use. First of all, they will not give you work. If they give you, they will want free work. Your relatives should be the last people on your radar. Strangers are going to trust you before anybody else. Believe me. I have 14 years of teaching experience. Okay, so take it as good news or bad news. This part, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is not in your syllabus. Bro, how can they keep 120 agreements in your syllabus? You have brain. Otherwise, what they will have to do? Group 1, Group 2, direct tax. Group 3. और क्या SPOM में set A, set B, set C, set D? Bro, they will have to have 120 sets. Well, you have become a CA, but every year you have to give one exam on one treaty. So till 120 years, you will be considered as a student. Finally, after 120 years, you become an expert. Then the first treaty is amended. Restart. नहीं? हाँ बोलते हैं. Bro, obviously they cannot be kept in your syllabus. They are not in your syllabus. You are not supposed to learn specific clause of any treaty, whether Indo-US or Indo-Malaysia, or Indo-China, or Indo-Russia treaty. You don't have to learn any of them. Yes, we know that there will be a treaty with different government. We know that India has already entered into approximately 120 treaties. We know that as per the treaty there will be some relief, and we also know that the calculation is different in every treaty. So in case you have a client from a particular country, only in that case you actually open that treaty and read the treaty for the applicability. And all these treaties are uploaded on Income Tax website. Income Tax has got two websites. One is incometax.gov.in, that is the e-filing portal where we have to log in and file return. And there is another website made by CBDT. मालूम है? Income Tax India. हाँ, उसके अंदर entire law is uploaded. So you can read the act, the rules, the circular, the notification. Bro, you can read the treaties over there. There is a link called tax calculator. You enter your incomes and they will calculate tax for you. You have to enter residential status, nature of assessee, all that, previous year assessment year. On that website, you will get all the treaties. Client has come, read that relevant treaty and decide the tax. You do not have to learn it for exam. If you plan or propose to be an expert in international tax, which I know you guys are not planning to because you all are all audit people. नहीं, tax है, कुछ भी नहीं. Ringa roses. किसमें expert बनना? Because one day you will have to come out of your minor status. Tax में बनना. If you want to become an expert in international tax, you will have to do more and more reading. If you have clients from other countries, you will have to apply the calculation. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, treaties as far as exam is concerned, not a part of your syllabus. Is that clear? So those thinking, acha sir, That means treaties we don't have to study for exam. That means bilateral relief over chalo unilateral. Bad news. While detailed calculation given in the treaties, 120 treaties, not a part of syllabus, you understand there will be some common features in all the treaties. The structure of the treaty is going to be same only. The pro forma you can say. It is same. In that, khali fill in the blanks may be enter treaty between India and Pakistan. In the fill in the blank, it will be treaty between India and Russia, treaty between India and New Zealand. Structure is same, and certain clauses, when we do the treaty, we can make the amendment. So while calculation is not a part of our syllabus, we still have to go and learn the general points, the common points. See, everyone is clear about the fact that calculation of India, New Zealand is different from India, US is different from India, China is different from India, Nepal. But do you agree that there is some calculation in every DT double? That you agree, no? Some calculation is given in every DT double. So there are certain things which are common in all treaties. We have to learn those common points. For example, every DT double will be having some calculation of relief from double taxation. The calculation can be different, very much likely to be different. What are the probabilities? In some cases, home country will leave tax. In some cases, host country will leave tax. In some cases, they will reduce their tax rate, but there will be some reduction. Every treaty will have some relief. Calculation can be different, but we are going to reduce your tax. Is this a benefit for the taxpayer? Think about it. Is assessee getting the benefit here? Because we are reducing your tax liability. Then also understand, when the government is taking trouble, think about it. You know, how entering into a treaty can be or has to be a complicated process. What do you think that Modi ji, Putin, Biden, Meloni, Jacinda Ardern is the Prime Minister of New Zealand. They all have a WhatsApp group. So afternoon mein Modi ji said hi in the group. Everybody was like thumbs up. Hi, hi, hi. When he has double digit replies, then he messages free tonight question mark. Then they reply in these days, you know, you don't have to type also your message. We just give reactions. But some people, you know, they actually type the message and send because they want to see who has read. Reaction mein you can't come to. In. One person is like place question mark. Modi is like Delhi. Chalo, theek hai, milte hain. Everyone is like, yes, Modi ji. Bola, chalo, treaty. But it does not work like that. Please understand. Prime ministers, presidents do not contact each other directly. They have a team. There is an office called PMO. Their secretaries are going to contact the same level ka people of that other country. They'll express the desire that we want to do this treaty with you. Why are we doing the treaty? So that taxpayers get relief. Lol, think about it. Two leaders are taking trouble to sit at a table, negotiate with each other so that you get benefit. You understand? So when they are taking so much trouble for taxpayers, at least will they keep some benefit for themselves also? Is my question to you logically. Itna trouble leke, they are doing treaty with each other, negotiating the time, negotiating the conditions, granting you relief, reducing your tax liability. Is that a benefit for you, the taxpayer? So in that same treaty, there will be some benefit of the government also. Every treaty, calculation can be different, calculation will be different, calculation has to be different. But every treaty will provide for something called exchange of information and assistance in tax collection. This will be a part of every treaty for the benefit of the government. The first point will be a part of every treaty for the benefit of assessee. The second point will be in every treaty for the benefit of government. See, what is different treaty by treaty? calculation of relief. So we don't have to study treaty by treaty calculation of relief because it is different. It is not in our syllabus. But every treaty will have something in common. What are the two common factors? Relief from double taxation and exchange of information. Relief is very easy to understand. We will reduce your tax liability. What is this? Exchange of information and assistance in tax collection. Simple language I have written. Law mein they say assistance in collection of fair and legitimate tax. English. Assistance in tax collection. Comfortable? Sir, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? What do you mean by exchange of information, assistance in tax collection? When Jaitley ji became the finance minister, so I am talking about 2014, okay, way back in 2014. Whatever plans he had in mind, he used to share with one of his close friends. That soon I will bring this in India, soon I will bring that in India, I am going to change the policy like this. And Modi ji, to be very honest, used to always listen to all suggestions of Jaitley. Auntie ke case mein it is, a problem that Modi ji decides and auntie has to just go and announce. But Jaitley ji ka suggestions he used to consider. So Jaitley ji used to tell all his plans to one of his close friends. And coincidentally, this close friend of Jaitley ji is also an extremely close friend of my father-in-law. So all the plans of Jaitley ji, this friend used to come to know. Friend used to tell my father-in-law, and father-in-law used to share everything with me. Communication, Jaitley ji, friend, father-in-law, me. Chronology something. My father-in-law shares everything with me because in his house no one listens to him as well as me. We are the most troubled people in that household. So one day this friend told my father-in-law, and the father-in-law and my father-in-law told me that Jaitley ji bole hai that soon I will bring a system in India where if any Indian goes abroad, any foreign country, and you spend anything out there, you go to a restaurant and you buy a coffee of $10, Indian government will get live real-time information about your transactions. Real-time information, like notifications. You swipe your card or you make any payment, so at that time, instantly, not just your family will get the message your account has been debited, government will also come. 500 ka coffee? Bro, either with the tea vendor you bargain, ke 12 ka 15 क्यों किया? $50, no? $50 नहीं, $10 बोला मैं, 50 rupees का exchange rate आया भाई. 500 rupees का coffee you are drinking. Where do you get this money from, you bloody below basic exemption limit? How? A rich father-in-law. Where do you get this money from is the question. See, government can ask this question only if they have info. So, old days what used to happen was, foreign countries used to accumulate your data. End of the year, they used to submit a file of hard copies. And studying those hard copies and identifying your tax evasion was difficult. And by the time a complete study used to take place, the time limit to complete your assessment, pass, order, everything used to become time barred. So government could never use that information against. Jaitley ji said, I'll get real-time information, live information. And in 2014, we found it funny. कुछ भी फॉरेन में किसी रेस्टोरेंट में I will go and drink $10 का coffee and my government will come to know here. Bro, I do so many things in life which my parents also don't. Look at your smiles. You look at your मतलब relatable था. Believe me, if my mother ever opens my cupboard, ever, my cupboard is always locked and the key is always in my pocket. I don't lie, at least in class. If she ever opens my cupboard, that will be my last day at home. No, it's not what you are thinking. I have a lot of old, unused stuff, useless stuff, and my mother does not like to keep junk at home. That not what you were thinking, not what you have stored in your cupboard. It's not what you were thinking. Thankfully, my wife knows. So I am that way safe. So in case I am ever caught, she knows how to twist the story and put it on someone else. Bola, actually this is not for us. It was brought from duty free for some friend. Failed to deliver. ऐसा कुछ. The junk duty free purchases, bro. So we have all done something in life which our parents don't know. Have we? Come on, say yes. So I go ahead. Something we have all done which our parents don't know. My question was, how will Jetli ji come to know what I am doing in that foreign country? Pagal hai. Unbelievable, unacceptable. But what if I tell you, he has started that. It is not completely implemented, but we are on that path. Now, every passport is linked with Aadhaar. And every Aadhaar is linked with PAN. So when against a certain passport, you duty free ke purchases mein you have to give passport. Foreign travel mein obviously you need passport. Every time you give your passport details, airlines are collecting those passport details, giving it to government. Government tracks your Aadhaar and your PAN. And whatever expenditure are written against your passport, they are going to match that with the income that you are showing. They have started doing. In fact, banks now give direct information to the government, online real-time information about all your foreign currency payments. Matlab, you have done foreign currency payment through a bank, credit card swipe. Your account is debited. Of course, you pay the bank and settle it. But bank same time informs government also. And the data is with the government. So what happens when the new year starts and we start filing our returns? Government itself puts that data in our online statement, AIS, TIS. Government is telling us that we know you have made foreign currency payment. So you better declare it. You better declare it. Matlab, about you, you have forgotten. Government knows. Believe me, last year when I was filing my own income tax return, I was checking my TIS. In that, they showed that you have made US dollar payments. You paid US? Kisko? I have not paid US dollar to anybody. Matlab, government is telling me I have made foreign currency payment. I don't even remember. US dollar? When did I go, bro? No. I confirm with my wife, you used my credit card. I come to know only because the registered number is mine. She's like, no, you must have paid someone. Let me check. Who? Kisko? I said, don't check. Sorry. I am not understanding. I checked the full statement. Credit card ka full year ka statement. Oh, bro, Zoom US. This Zoom ka subscription is paid through credit card. And I hope you are aware that this is US based platform. So, ye monthly subscription charges that I am paying to Zoom was also reflected in my TIS. Matlab, government has gone to that detail. So every transaction that I am doing in foreign currency, bro, you do and forget. Government is not forgetting anything. You have got no bloody idea, bro. Big Daddy is watching you from everywhere. Your parents may or may not know about what transactions you are doing, financial as well as non-financial. Your parents may or may not know about your financial and non-financial, what you are up to. Government knows everything, at least the financial part. Non-financial, they are also not interested. They are keeping a watch on every transaction. Your Paytm wallets, your UPI, I must say, they are linked with your PAN Aadhaar. KYC is done. Your Ola Money ka wallet. Do you know your Zomato ka orders are being tracked by government? Do you know your Amazon ka orders are being tracked by the government? Because on every platform you have given that. Of course, they got the popular ones like your Demat account. Demat account open करने के time only we give PAN and Aadhaar. So that is linked. You know that. Bank account, FD, post office, mutual funds, they are all linked, of course. But these other transactions that you are doing, government is now keeping track of all of them, domestic or foreign. So we will put in our treaty that that foreign government has to give information. Because if that foreign government does not give information, then we will never come to know what you have spent over there to match it with your declared income in India. And for that, we need cooperation of that government. So, while we are taking the trouble of doing a treaty for your tax relief, obviously we will keep some benefit for ourselves as the government by keeping this in every treaty. We will exchange information. So, there will be Indian taxpayers in that country, New Zealand in our example. New Zealand should give information about expenses of Indians and we will give information about expenses of your people. That is exchange of information. And assistance in tax collection. Please understand this also. A lot of times Indians park their undisclosed money outside. Now we want to recover. Somewhere very late in our syllabus, chapter number 31 of our syllabus, if I have to be specific, we have a chapter called recovery proceedings. Listen to me. I have not done that chapter, but you will understand what I am saying. There is a chapter called recovery proceedings. Sir, what is that chapter? If you have any tax liability, but you are not paying, so the assessing officer will appoint another officer called TRO, tax recovery officer. Short में बोलता हूँ, if you have any liability which you are not paying, so they will appoint an officer called TRO, tax recovery officer. I also call it वसूली भाई. जल्दी बोल, कल सुबह पनवेल निकल. वसूली भाई, recovery officer. He will come to your premises for recovery of taxes. He can take away your movable property. He can take away your immovable property. Bro, if you are एकदम गरीब भूखा नंगा ना, he can take you away. He has the power to arrest. And he can auction the assets that assets are not you, because he won't fetch anything. He can auction the assets that are taken away. Why is he taking away your assets? So that he can auction and recover the tax. But this right he has only on the assets that are in India. If your asset is in a foreign country, the TRO can't go there and recover from that asset. You must know that police can't go and arrest people from other countries. Bro, in our country, though, police comes under state government. The Maharashtra police has to arrest someone in Gujarat, they need first Gujarat government permission. You must know this. That much crime patrol we have all seen in life. That much we can very easily understand. But do you know this? So there's no question that your police or your income tax department can go and arrest somebody in a foreign country. For that, our government will request that country. That this taxpayer of our country has evaded taxes, but he has got assets over there. Kindly help us recover. So that government will take away your assets, will auction your assets, take some charges obviously, and then send that money to the Indian government. But that is possible, Mitro, only and only if the two governments have put that clause in their agreement that is called assistance in tax collection. So first that government will exchange information about your financial transaction, then also help to recover those taxes. A lot of countries have agreed. Countries like Singapore and Mauritius, I must tell you that in their treaty there was not proper exchange of information. So government of India was not coming to know about financial transactions by Indians. So government strictly told them that we will break off all ties with you. But Singapore and Mauritius ka economy also heavily dependent on India. So finally they agreed to modify the treaty to exchange information. There were recent amendments in India, Singapore Treaty, India Mauritius Treaty. But of course, as far as Switzerland is concerned, they will never share info, and our government is never going to insist also. Never share info, to take it is their choice. Why the second thing? Why our government will not insist or force them like they did with Singapore or Mauritius? Why our government is not strict with Switzerland? Not dependent on India. Bro, जब वहाँ पे DDLG का cutout they have put at Mount Titlis, and when you come down from Mount Titlis, there is an Indian restaurant selling pav bhaji and vada pav. Of course, it is dependent on India. Do something better. नहीं तो European Union में तो multiple countries are there. I thought it was too easy. Bro, their money is only lying. The Indian politicians who are pressurizing the foreign governments to exchange information will not pressurize Switzerland because their names will come first. Okay, Switzerland, no problem. Zara sa jhoom lu main, are nare nare. Switzerland say we don't want information. Understood? But do you understand what this point is? So yes, we do not have to learn individual calculation of individual treaties, but there are certain common factors in every treaty. Common factor 1, some relief will be there, no, whatever be the calculation. Common factor 2, exchange of information and assistance in tax collection. All this is possible only if there is cooperation between the government in the form of a treaty. Ye clear hua, everyone? Exchange of information and assistance in tax collection. But then this is only for tax cooperation. Supposingly there is some borrower from SBI who has gone away without repaying those loans. और टैक्स कलेक्शन के साथ साथ have we mentioned about that in the treaty, then only we will be able to request that government. You know what a lot of Indians do? I'll tell you. Out of the 200 countries in the world, practical experience of direct tax, international tax, I'm giving you. This may help you to create a career in international tax. The next couple of minutes ka discussion can possibly motivate you to move from audit to tax. There are 200 countries in the world. You go and search for a country which, one, does not have income tax. There are quite a few such countries in the world. And two, does not have DTAA with India. So, matlab, from those 80 countries, any country which does not have income tax, go check. Go check that. That's the best place to be for an Indian tax professional. What are the two features? No tax, no treaty with India. For example, there is a country called Seychelles. It is a country in Africa, matlab Africa continent, and India and Africa, it's an island country. So if you open maps, no, India and Africa के बीच में जो ocean है, उसको you zoom at least 5 or 6 times, then you will be able to see that country. Seychelles. Only beaches because it is surrounded by water from all sides. Only islands are there. मतलब world's most popular beaches, photogenic beaches, best pictures you can click over there. Primarily, it has 3 big cities. There is Mahe Island, which has got, all are islands only, which has got the international airport. There is a small island called Praslin, or Pralin is what they call it, Praslin. And there is a third island called Ladig Island of Seychelles, they call it. This is free of any vehicles. So from Mahe or Praslin, you have to take the water ka route. Go there, and it is only like Matheran. It is foreign ka Matheran. No vehicles. There they don't have horses also. You have to walk or cycling. The population of this island is roughly about 2,000. Usme 1,500 are Indian. So you have to walk everywhere. As I said, no vehicles. You are taking a stroll on the roads and you hear people saying, "Aja jamba masu banai go jamba." And then they talk also in that accent, like proper Guju accent. Not just, you know how foreign ka Gujus, normally international Gujus talk. That Gujarati also they talk in English. But they like typically talk about that rural Gujarati. You know what accent only you identify. Directly from some rural village in Gujarat, that person has directly moved to Ladig Island. Why? Seychelles does not have income tax and does not have a tax treaty with India. So what Indians do, every multinational company in India, they incorporate an office, a company over there. Supposingly there is a company that is incorporated in Seychelles. This company ka owner is an Indian. And in India, this is India. Here also you are doing your financial transactions. This is your company. Investment is yours. Profit is yours. You being a resident in India, you should be paying tax on these profits. But government of India will never come to know, because Seychelles ka government has not informed India ka government that this company is opened by an Indian. So you get your undisclosed money or black money, directly park it in such countries, with that make investments, with that earn profits, and don't declare it to government, and that government is also not informing India. So what Indians are doing, opening offices in countries where, one, here I don't have to pay any tax, and two, here also I don't have to pay any tax because this government does not exchange information with India. In all those countries which have these two features now, you will find huge number of Indian population. Huge population will be Indians, because they are there as a setup. They have to manage that fund. And globally, saving 30%, 40% tax is basically increasing your profits by 30 to 40%. So the expenditure incurred to run that setup and the high salary that we pay to people whom we have picked up from rural areas. Now, a Mumbai ka CA will expect, at least 1 lakh per month after becoming a CA. And first attempt mein to, I assure you that it will be that much. If you have taken multiple attempts only because of your stupidities, कि कौन सुबह सुबह 7 बजे लेक्चर में जाएगा, आई विल वॉच रिकॉर्डिंग, आई विल डू दिस. इफ योर नॉनसेंस हैज, इट इज ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ यू, नोबडी एल्स हैज, you did not follow instructions, that has changed your number of attempts. So it may not be minimum 1 lakh per month, but gradually it will cross that number. You'll take the same amount of time to cross jitna time you took to cross the final ka mark for your own faults. Mumbai ka CA will expect 1 lakh. Now same thing, you go to a tier 2 tier 3 city, I have respect for them, but Ahmedabad ka CA 50,000 per month is very happy because his expenses are too less. उसमें भी is saving 50%. मुंबई में 1 lakh में भी may not be able to save 15-20%, but Ahmedabad में 50,000 monthly salary में you can save 50% because expenses are too less. You go to even smaller city, so there are CAs who are ready to work for 20-25,000 because there is no expense also, and they want to stay at home only. The 25,000 वाला CA को if you take to Seychelles and give him 1 lakh rupees, he will happily come. Mumbai ka CA will not go there for 1 lakh because that I am earning here also. Come on, companies target such people and take them, and they are very happy, and the families claim to their relatives here, my child has settled abroad, proudly that also. Huge opportunities waiting for you, provided you identify such countries. So government is trying level best to stop such cases, but yes, not all countries even today have agreement with India. So there are those 80 countries that can be your target. Once there is an agreement, 1, taxpayers will get relief, and 2, government will get information about all your financial transactions. So first point they are keeping for you, second point they are keeping for themselves. We are doing which part of the chapter? Bilateral. Bilateral relief mein, relief will be provided as per what is written in the treaty. Calculation is different, treaty by treaty, treaty by treaty. We are only learning the common points. Common point 1, relief from double taxation. Common point 2, exchange of information. Let's go ahead. Now that we have decided to provide you relief, there are 2 methods of providing relief under bilateral. So unilateral pe will go later. Under bilateral, when both governments are actually doing an agreement, there are 2 methods. The 2 ways of providing relief are 1, something called a tax credit method, and 2, something called a tax exemption method. Tax credit method and tax exemption method. I'll write the meanings of both of them. We'll do examples. You will understand. Under bilateral, what are the 2 methods of providing relief? See, 2 ways of double taxation: juridical, economic. No relief in economic. Under juridical, there is relief. In that, we have bilateral and unilateral. And under bilateral, there are 2 methods. Which are those 2 methods? Tax credit method, tax exemption method. Tax credit method. Here, both countries will charge tax. So will India take tax? Yes, and so will New Zealand. But one will give credit of tax paid in other. Both countries will levy tax, charge tax, but one will give you credit of what you have paid in the other, and that is the reason we call it tax credit method. Example se we'll understand. Okay. Example. Supposingly, New Zealand decides to give you credit. So we are continuing our same example, 30, 40, 70 wala. So what's your tax liability in India? This 30 you will have to fully pay. If New Zealand is giving credit to India ka 30 you will have to fully pay. Is this okay? New Zealand, you were going to pay how much? But from that, pay attention, you are getting credit of what you have paid in India. What you pay in that other country, we will reduce from the liability here, and effectively you end up paying only 10. Is tax being levied by India as well as New Zealand? So you understand the first line, both countries are charging tax, but one is giving you credit of what you have paid in the other. So in our example, New Zealand has given us credit of the tax paid in India. Example understood? Everyone? Okay. Example 2. It is also possible that India gives credit. In that case, this time you will have to pay the full tax in New Zealand. Are you understanding what is happening in class? So tell me, what will we do here? In India, what was your liability supposed to be? But because India has decided to give you credit, we will reduce the tax that you have paid in the other country. How much is the tax paid in the other country? Now you have to use your brain here. Common sense is more important than anything else. Use your brain, please. We can't be taking credit of 40 year and tell you to thus day. I will pay 40 in New Zealand and take refund of 10 in India. Yeah, Indian government will say at best maximum don't pay anything here. The maximum credit will be this much, effectively 0. And now again read the meaning of tax credit method. Are both governments taking tax? But one is giving you credit of the tax paid in other. India can give credit or New Zealand can give credit, and this is how the calculation is going to work. Are both governments simultaneously involved? So it is bilateral relief. Even in a case like this, first case, you observe you are paying something in India as well as New Zealand. Are both countries still taking tax from you? But it is still lower than 70, and that is the target. Ye clear hua? Now I have an important question for you, and this question comes with the offer. If you give the correct answer, I will divorce my wife and marry you. But for that, you need to understand the question properly. Okay? I have given you 2 examples. In example 1, who gave credit? New Zealand. And I gave you the numbers. Example 2, India. These are possibilities. Either New Zealand or India. New Zealand or India. It can be New Zealand, it can be India. If it is New Zealand, example 1. If it is India, example 2. Actually, who will give credit? Example mein to we can say any country, home country, host country. Actually, who will give credit? Question understood. Question understood. Who will give credit? New Zealand ke India. Example mein to I can take anything. Actually, who will give credit? See, such a big offer cannot be chorus. How many people I will handle? Who is volunteering to answer, please? Structured manner may give your answer if you are ready. No one? Abhi to everyone was saying something. You understood the question, no? Otherwise I will repeat. Question samjha na? You can't get so lucky every time, Karim. Karim is typing for everyone in the chat, home country will give. You care to explain how? For me, it is very easy to take your answer because I can easily cancel the offer by saying no long distance relationship. Bol how? हाँ तो नहीं, that I understood. See, that is the general law of taxation, that home country will take tax, host will also take. Your answer is that home country will get tax. That is what you have typed. No, home country will give credit. Why home country should give credit? Is your logic this? That sir, host is that country where you are generating income, so you have to pay. Home country is basically taking tax on other countries' income. Honestly speaking, host country deserves tax more than the home country because that land has generated the profit for you. But answer is wrong. Any other answer? Some are like, sir, home will give credit, wrong hai. So ठीक है, फिर तो शादी पक्का, host country, right answer. No, of course, now the offer stands withdrawn, no, because nobody has given the correct answer. Host country, that is also wrong. Right, Abul. Say it, it's right. Bro, it will be written in the agreement. Proportionately भी नहीं. अरे नहीं, एक minute, bro, offer was withdrawn. Offer was withdrawn. Okay, bro, no dhakka mukki, more opportunities will come. We have 3 months. 3 months. Okay, just in case you would have been eligible for the offer, no, saddest person he only would have been because he is interested. Ha. So no, treaty will specify home country ke host country. Is what I mean when I say this. every DTAA will give a different calculation. So some treaty may say home country, some treaty may say host country. Based on what is written in the treaty, we will decide India ke New Zealand. You understood? So bilateral relief in your syllabus is only about learning possibilities. This can happen or that can happen. But what will happen on the basis of what is written in the treaty? Now you know. Okay, fantastic. Let's talk about tax exemption method. This is very easy. One country charges tax. Other country fully exempts you. That means you just have to pay one of your two tax liabilities, either India or New Zealand. Example also very easy. For example, New Zealand exempts. So all you are required to do is come to India, pay 30, chapter over. Matlab this chapter over, not DTAA ka chapter. Just pay 30 and story over. You understood this? Okay, option 2. This time you will give me the option, the situation, the answer, everything. Then only I will take it that you are understanding things in class. India exempts. Chalo, fantastic. New Zealand what? Pay 40 because India has granted exemption. This is so even easier. One country you have to pay, other country you don't have to pay. In tax credit you pay at both places, but one of them will give you credit. In tax exemption, just pay at one place, don't pay at other place. So we have done two examples. Example 1 India gives, example 1 New Zealand gives exemption. Example 2 India gives exemption. ये example है. Actual में which country will give exemption? As per written in the. हाँ अभी वापस से that same question का offer can't come obviously. So which country will give credit? What is the answer? Now everybody is clear. Whoever made the mistake. Which country will give credit? As per DTAA. Which country will give exemption? As per DTAA. Okay, one more question. It can be tax credit or tax exemption based on understanding of the two governments. See, these are the two possibilities. Ultimately, it will be one of them, no? So, whether we will follow tax credit method or tax exemption method. ये question है. As per DTAA, one more. So tax credit or exemption as per DTAA. Which country will give credit or exemption? Again as per DTAA. Bilateral relief ka theory of the chapter is only about learning the general points. You understand this? Chalo, fantastic. Let's go ahead. Quite a few general points still remaining. Next. Every DTAA will contain something called a non-discrimination clause. Every DTAA will contain something called a non-discrimination clause. Non-discrimination. English. With translation, I am not asking. He's saying bhedbhav. Bro, then I'll tell you what. Then in that case, you are in a long classroom. If you want translation, no, so whose videos to watch, I will send you the link. Open a book, read in English, translate in Hindi. You want that link? I will send it to you. And you are the last expected person because you are not the first person in your family who is sitting in my classroom. Bhedbhav nahi. Please understand. Okay, understand with situation. Supposingly there is a treaty, because this will happen in every treaty between two governments. Say India and New Zealand only, because that is the example till now. So me India, you New Zealand. Me India, you New Zealand. Hi New Zealand. Hi New Zealand. Listen, people will come from my country to your country. People will come from your country to my country. I hereby promise. So India is promising. I promise that when I levy tax on your people, it won't be higher than my people. Tax levied on your people won't be higher than tax levied on my people. Means we will not discriminate against your people by levy of tax. ऐसा नहीं है that in India we are keeping normal individual का tax rate as 0, 5, 20, 30, but your people we will directly start at 30. If there is a certain individual ka tax rate that we are levying on our individuals, same we will levy for your individuals. If there is certain rate that we are levying on partnership firms, then we will levy the same tax for your partnership firms. That's a promise that both countries make each other of not discriminating against other countries. And that clause in every treaty is known as the non-discrimination clause. ये meaning समझा? Now how to write it? The non-discrimination clause basically means that tax rate of NR, NR मतलब other country का people, अरे your country का people, will not be higher than tax rate of resident. Tax rate of non-resident will not be higher. It can be same or lower, but it won't be higher. Tax rate of NR will not be higher than tax rate of non-resident. You understand the meaning of non-discrimination, everyone? But wait, there is a twist here. Our government, before doing this non-discrimination promise to other countries, ultimately we are learning the law in Indian point of view. Our government is at the beginning only telling you not applicable to corporate assessee. Corporate assessee matlab foreign companies. We clearly tell you in advance only, bro, that even if there is non-discrimination, so no, New Zealand, listen, no, New Zealand, we are having non-discrimination. If your individuals will come, we will not discriminate. But if your company will come, we will levy higher. We are levying higher. One of the biggest amendments, an expected question in exam. Domestic company is 30 or 25, but non-domestic company ko we are, till last year it was 40, but you have to for exam learn what? 35%. Understood or no? So non-discrimination ka benefit will be given only to non-corporate assessees. Corporate assessees are going to be ineligible, disqualified from this benefit. Is that clear? Matlab conclusion is foreign company ka tax rate will be higher than domestic company even if there is non-discrimination. Everyone is clear? Fantastic. Next. The provisions that are written in any treaty. So we have how many treaties roughly? 120. The provisions of DTAA are optional. तुमको ऑप्शन दे रहे. Did you now Google Rati Shankar Shukla? Not yet. हाँ मिर्जापुर only. नहीं. हाँ का same. Okay, forget it. Option. Let's focus on the point. Whatever is written in the DTAA is optional. मतलब supposingly you fall in any DTAA. Take this Omkar का case only. India New Zealand वाला case. If there is a treaty between India and New Zealand, his tax will be calculated as per treaty. But we are not forcing you. Matlab, if you don't understand the meaning of optional, so let me put it this way. That means you will pay tax as per normal income tax law if there was no DTAA, or you will pay tax as per DTAA, whichever is lower, whichever is beneficial. Whenever in tax we have option between two things, obviously we choose zyada wala, higher wala tax. No, CAs are partners in nation building, contribution to the nation. Which one will we pay? Obviously lower wala, na? Matlab, can we pay lower of the two? Yes. So we can avail whichever is beneficial. Yes. And which is why I can say DTAA is not compulsory. DTAA is optional. Did you understand the point? But I have a question against this point. If you are a good student, you should instantly raise an objection to the point despite the fact that, sir, I have understood. So I will calculate tax as per income tax law. First chapter mein whatever we have studied, I will calculate tax as per DTAA, and finally I have to pay to the government. Lower of the two. Correct? Hai? That's the meaning of this point. But I am against this point. I have some logical objection to this point. If you are a good student, raise the objection. These are those rare occasions that you will get to show your talent. Come on. There is something wrong in this point.
How can the normal tax can be raised on the tax?
What's your name? Pratik. K ना? K से end होता है ना? कि प्रतीक तो TIK, T-E-E-K, Pratik. Pratik, he said, how can normal tax be lower? Does that make sense to you? Think about it. DTAA was created to reduce tax. Matlab, one feature of DTAA, we all understand that the tax has to be lower than normal tax. And if DTAA ka tax has to be lower only, then where is the question then? So this is always your answer. If this is only lower, then this is your answer. Correct hai ki nahi? Correct hai na? Okay. Example, you have foreign income 10 crore. Normal tax rate in India will be 30%. But in DTAA, see, DTAA can reduce the rate also. In DTAA, they have given you 5%. So which one will you choose? Yes. And is also the answer given by Pratik. This is the doubt. See, we are choosing whichever is lower is the point which everyone understood. But the good doubt raised by him, and I also have the same objection. I am saying I also have the same objection. So obviously this was done for providing relief, so this only will be lower. No? Okay, wait, Pratik and everyone else. What if the foreign income was not 10 crore, was only 1 lakh? Then bro, DTAA does not give slab, it is still 5%. So as per DTAA on 1 lakh also there will be 5%. But in case I choose to go to normal, then bro, I will be in basic exemption. So this is that only case where normal can be beneficial, where the income is below basic exemption. Which is also, now you know, because we have done the tax rates chapter, only for individual HUF at least. Because in companies and firms there is flat tax, so DTAA will only be lower. But at least in individual, is it possible? Foreign income is below basic exemption limit, but DTAA will give flat rate only. So it is better to pay tax as per normal. Abhi doubt clear? We are talking about levying tax on residents. Ultimately, where are we discriminating? My point is that whichever is beneficial in this case or this case, are we giving that benefit to resident as well as non-resident? हमने ऐसा बोला that this is only for resident. नहीं, so then we are not discriminating only. That means the benefit is going to resident as well as non-resident. Can resident choose whichever is lower? So can a non-resident. Example, may you take anybody. We never said here that optional for resident and compulsory for non-resident. So it is optional for everyone. Everyone is at par. Understood what was the doubt? A very logical doubt. In fact, if you have common sense, you should have had that doubt. Okay, I created the doubt and I answered it. Are you now clear? Provisions of DTAA are going to be optional. Matlab we can pay tax as per normal or DTAA, whichever is lower. And you understood when it can be lower? Slab rates, if you are in a lower slab compared to the rate given in the DTAA. Everybody is clear? Okay, next. Now, there can be treaty or agreement with also someone called or some country called non-sovereign territory. English. Heavy English, huh bro? Non-sovereign territory. See, India has attained freedom, but there are some countries who are even today run by kings, rulers. There is no government. You heard of this guy called the Sultan of Brunei? Huh? 7,000 cars है उसके पास. Bro, this is the first time you have spoken in my class in last so many years, है ना? गाड़ी का बात आया, ये सब आया तो I will participate. Otherwise, I will not participate in class. हाँ, 7,000 cars, private aeroplane made of gold, Google about this guy. He's the ruler. And some say that his wealth multiplies every few seconds. But it is still kingdom rule. Somewhat to a certain extent, UAE maybe, if you understand, it is the rule of the Sheikh only. We can enter into treaties with those territories also. In fact, we hereby also permit that a specified association in India can enter into any kind of agreement with a specified association outside India. Matlab, we are taking this concept beyond taxation. If I have to restrict to your examination, I can actually skip this point and you will never come to know that this one point was not discussed in class. But I want you to have a practical viewpoint, a practical knowledge aspect to this. You should know that in India there is an organization called ICAI. Don't tell me you don't know this. Can actually have an agreement with American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, or can actually have an agreement with your UK का ACCA या वो CMA का जो institute. If I talk about UK CMA specifically, it has got 13 papers, 3 levels, total 13 papers. If you are an Indian chartered accountant, you have to give only 4 papers, and those 4 also because in India you have studied India का law and India का tax. The law and tax ka paper you have to study. Otherwise, financial management, costing, you have immunity from all those. Now, there is nothing to do with taxation. There can be an agreement between Mumbai police and Scotland police. We are taking this concept beyond taxation. Beyond taxation. You understand? We will now have all types of treaties with all types of territories and all types of association. Tax treaty, double taxation avoidance agreement between the two governments. But even if there is no government, we can do a treaty with them. And this kind of treaty, especially, abhi ye wala to you can ignore, to be very honest, because it has got nothing to do with tax. This is general knowledge. But this kind of treaty, non-sovereign territory, this is also known as something called a TIEA. Tax Exchange Information Agreement. TIEA, that is Tax Exchange Information Agreement. I'll make you understand. Okay. Supposingly that Indian has done financial transaction in a country, you know, take Dubai only for an example. Okay. No income tax there. So where is the question of doing a DTAA? If you understand this, then I go ahead. India cannot have DTAA with UAE. Why India cannot have DTAA with UAE? There is no double tax. No matter how much India will levy tax, there won't be any tax ever in UAE. So there is no question of double tax. There is no question of relief. You understand? But we still want to know financial transactions done by Indians. So what are we telling Dubai? We are telling Dubai, bro, listen. You don't want to give relief because there is no tax in your country. So we will levy the tax. But we still want data of financial transactions of India. Indians, at least so that we can tax them here properly. In return, we will also exchange some information if you want. For example, there are some countries which are very, very strict as far as sale of drugs is concerned. Very strict. You know, they give as high as death penalty for sale of drugs. Here, you bro, those who Somaya College, anybody? College ke bahar, you want to know the name of the supplier? She's in my inter batch right now. I'll make you contact her. She supplies even now. Either bro, there are so many colleges outside of which you are actually getting drugs. But some countries have death penalty. So what India can in return promise? Something like this. That you give us information on taxation. We will give you information about drug peddlers. You know who is world's biggest drug peddler? Some said वो narcos वाला कौन था? Pablo Escobar. And then there are some who say, sir, kachra set. Kachra set? 150 rupiya de. You cannot not know kachra set. Come on, bro. Acha, Pablo Escobar, narcos. If there is any such peddler, we will give you information about such people. See, at the end of the day, my question is very simple. Very simple. Supposingly, Dubai does not have tax. If Dubai does not have tax, we cannot have DTAA. That means we should not be friends with Dubai, right? That means we should not be friends with Dubai. Or should we? We should. Every time you meet a Guju businessman, you hear that Guju businessman say, Sahib, dhando thaye ke na thaye, sabandh mahatva na che. Don't worry, I'll translate. Don't worry. For those who don't follow this. That, sir, whether we do business with each other or no, relations are more important. And that businessman does not mean it. They don't mean it. Let me tell you that they don't mean it. But what you need to understand is, whether I do business with you or no, we need to be in contact, in touch with each other. We can ever be useful for one reason or the other. Stay in, and we are a small community, bro. 4 lakh CAs, 10 lakh students. We should to make sure that we stay in touch with each other forever, because any kind of professional opportunity I can bring for you or you can bring for me. We grow by making others grow. You rise by bringing others up. That, for this reason also, we should stay in touch with people of our same profession. You're nodding your head. Result ke din they don't even inform ke sir pass. The same statement I said in the last batch also. But they didn't communicate. And I have given up also now. मतलब ठीक है, बोलना है बोलो, नहीं बोलना है मत बोलो. If you communicate and it is an exemption, so I will put your photo on the book or on the pamphlet, or I'll put it. Otherwise, I won't put it. You be happy, I'm so very happy. बहुत simple. But we are a small community. I'm talking about our CA community, and we should help each other. And this is where we are using the principle and applying on this thing called tax information exchange agreement. We may not have any double taxation relief with each other, but we will at least exchange all kinds of information about investments of your people, investments of my people, any crime in your country and the criminal is here, any crime in my country and the criminal is there. We can be helpful for each other for things other than relief also. All throughout bilateral relief, other than relief also we have spoken about or talked about a lot of other things as well. Spoken nahi hota hai, because spoken about or talked about a lot of other things as well. We spoke about exchange of information. We spoke about assistance in tax collection. We spoke about cooperation in financial matters. Treaties are required for other stuff as well. Is that understood? And of course, specified association, for general knowledge, I have told you, exam point of view, no relevance. Next, every treaty will now also have something called misuse prevention by residents of third countries. Every treaty will have something called misuse prevention by residents of third countries. Oh, online wala students, wake up from your sleep. Huh? In the 3rd minute, you will be in the waiting room. 3rd minute, I am telling you. It's not that I'm ignoring or I cannot see what you're doing. You want to eat your food, you eat with your video and I have no problem. Do whatever you want to, but keep your video on, please. Okay? What is this? Every treaty will provide for something called misuse prevention by residents of third country. Sir, ये क्या होता है? See, understand. Me India, you Germany. Me India, you Germany. Hi Germany. Hi. Let's do a treaty. Let's agree on the terms and conditions. We have done a treaty with each other. We call it the Indo-German treaty. Silly question. Will Indians get benefit of this treaty? Will Germans get benefit of this treaty? Fantastic. India-Germany treaty will be for Indians and Germans. Correct or no? There is this gentleman, Australian. नाम क्या बताया था? अमन. अमन की आशा. अमन. He is Australian. Treaty between India and Germany. Aman, who is Australian, will he get benefit of this treaty? This is also a silly question. Will an Australian get benefit of India-Germany treaty? No. But Aman is very smart. And basically, you know this, that Australians are very good at cheating in all forms, including sports. Sports mein to specially. Born cheaters there. So Aman, the cheater Australian, what he did, I'll tell you. He checked India-Germany treaty and he saw that there is some tax benefit that I can take here. But for that, I have to be Indian or German. Fantastic. He checks real estate rates in India as well as Germany. Germany is expensive, so in India he comes. He comes to India and checks that which rural place he gets the cheapest real estate possible. It can be a small village of single-digit population also. They are single-digit houses. He takes one premises, over there, purchase or rent, very cheap real estate in a village. He registers that place in the name of his company in the leave and license agreement of rent or maybe purchase also. He has enough money that he can buy. And that office since purchase is locked. But now he has one address proof of India. He says, I am an Indian. How are you an Indian? Dekho, I have office. He has papers. From that office, he is not doing anything. He is doing all his trade from Australia to Germany. Australia to Germany. If there is trade between Australia and Germany, there is no benefit of India-Germany agreement. But this Australian is putting on his face the mask of an Indian by buying an office in India and always keeping it locked only for address proof, and claims before all the tax authorities, I am Indian. Aman ki aasha. If you want सारे जा से अच्छा गा के सुनाए. And now this Australian is taking benefit of India-Germany treaty. This point J is basically an instruction to assessing officers. It is an instruction to tax authorities that before anybody takes relief, do an investigation. Kya investigation? Listen. Does this assessee genuinely belong to one of the two countries? Or is this assessee a resident of a third country who is only projecting himself to be a resident of one of these two countries for only misusing the benefit provided? We will not allow residents of third countries to do any such misuse. Did you understand this, everyone? So this is basically an instruction to assessing officers to do an investigation before providing the relief. Everyone is clear about this? Fantastic. Next, the concept of TRC, tax residency certificate. This is going to be mandatory if DTAA का relief is claimed by virtue of being resident of foreign country. By virtue of being resident of foreign country. If you are claiming DTAA relief, on what ground? That sir, I am resident of a foreign country. Then it is mandatory to obtain a certificate called tax residency certificate. Don't make those small eyes. ऐसा क्या बोल रहा है? I am not understanding anything. What is he saying here? Arey, don't worry, I will explain. Ready hai? Listen. As per treaty, either home country will get tax or host country will get tax. One of them will get. In the treaty under consideration, in the treaty under discussion, it is written tax will go to home country, home country, home country. This is a case where tax has to go to home country. It is written in the treaty. Matlab, which country will get tax as per treaty? home country, and therefore which country has to leave the tax? Everybody is clear? Home country will get tax, host will have to forego, is written in the treaty, then only this point will apply. Let me specify that also. This point will apply only when home country levies tax, host country foregoes. And story में twist is India is your host country. मतलब in the given story India has to forego tax. So listen, now we'll create an example. Agreement between India and Germany, and in that agreement we have written who will get tax, home country will get tax, home country will. Supposingly some resident of New Zealand comes and earns income in India. That means India is the host country. As per what we have already agreed, who will get tax? Home country New Zealand. That means India has to forego tax. Come on bro, जो वादा किया वो निभाना पड़ेगा. India has agreed that we will not take tax as the host country on the understanding that you are a resident of New Zealand. You have paid tax there, and therefore under double taxation relief, we as the host country will leave your tax, forego your tax. This is the understanding, and we have promised, so we will honor. But unfortunately, there are some extra oversmart people in this world. So what they did was, they planned their number of days of stay in multiple countries in a year in such a way that they end up becoming non-resident everywhere. Big international tax का plan. देखो, India has got rules, no, 182 days, etc. So similar rules exist in other countries. Every country has got a threshold of number of days for becoming resident. You make sure that you don't cross that in any country. That means if you have not understood, let me say it in simple language. You are a non-resident everywhere. You are not a resident anywhere. Ye clear hai? Fantastic. Now you have income in India. So India is source country. As source country, India has agreed to forego the tax because that is written in the treaty. So you are telling India, hey India, don't take tax because I will pay tax in my home country as per treaty. So you don't take. India honors, does not take tax on the understanding that you must have paid tax in the. But ladies and gentlemen, the twist is that this guy is too smart, too clever, is not having a home country. So in every country, he is taking tax benefit and not paying tax anywhere else. There were some cases that were identified by government of India where a person is taking source benefit here, claiming that I have paid tax in home country, but actually is a non-resident there also. So government brought this rule. Theoretically, it is very easy to understand. The rule is, are you claiming that you are resident of New Zealand? You have paid tax there, and therefore you will not pay tax here. Get it in writing from government, New Zealand government. Okay, you have paid tax there. Get it in writing from that country that this person has become a resident in our country. This person has paid tax in our country, and if you get that in writing, we will be having the proof that you have paid tax. Then only we will give you relief. Otherwise, we will not give you relief. And now read the line. Tax residency certificate. You have to bring from which country? Home country, and India is your host country. You have to bring, if you are claiming that you have become resident, then bring that certificate, and then only we will give you DTAA ka benefit. If you don't have that certificate, we will not give you DTAA ka benefit. Is that understood, bro? Theoretically, it is understood. You realize how difficult it will be to implement practically. Just imagine, India has done treaty with New Zealand and promised what? We will not tax source income. So some resident of New Zealand comes here and earns income. So we should not levy tax because we have promised. But now we are insisting that we will honor this promise only if from that country you bring TRC. So poor assessee, he went there. Bola, give TRC. That government is like, buck. You think we are free? You think we have no other work? You think we are servants of you or your government? Denied. Just imagine if that government refuses to grant that certificate. And despite paying tax in that country, you will not get relief, because without tax residency certificate, you are not going to get it. Very, very unfair. But then because of a crime of few people, who were those few people who were becoming non-resident everywhere? Because of crime of few people, everyone will be suffering. It is mandatory to obtain tax residency certificate, without which relief will not be given. Everyone clearly understood this? 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, congratulations, badai ho, abhinandan. Bolo why? Because that was the first part, bilateral. You understand, calculation of relief is different. So nowhere we studied calculation, but we studied the common points. Common points in the form of giving relief, exchange of information, tax credit method, exemption method, non-discrimination ka clause ka we studied, misuse prevention. We studied just about everything about bilateral relief. Now I will give you one piece of news which will, you lose your cool, you'll get very angry. Kya yaar? Did I tell you that this chapter will come to 6 to 8 for 6 to 8 marks? That won't be from bilateral relief. That has not happened in the last decade. That 6 to 8 mark ka question will come from unilateral relief, which obviously first thing that we will do, 7 o'clock next lecture. Abhi don't start packing. I am not done. Sir, why they don't ask questions on bilateral? Please understand. Syllabus mein they have not kept treaties. In case they want to test you on the calculation, please listen to me. So they will have to give you that part from the treaty. Matlab they will give you a situation where India Australia ka treaty hai. That treaty they will write in the question paper, and then on the basis of that treaty they will ask you to calculate it. This is similar to if you have studied comprehension while studying English grammar. A paragraph is given, you have to read the paragraph and write the answer. You can't do that at CA final, bro. You can't do that at CA final. So last 10 years they haven't kept any question on bilateral. Unilateral relief ka calculation is given in section 91 of Income Tax Act. It's a part of our syllabus. And this is where they ask all the questions for 6 to 8 marks. Ye clear hai? But just because they don't ask does not mean that they have announced that we will not ask bilateral relief. We had to study. We have studied it. That's your concept called bilateral relief. What is left in the chapter? We will be starting unilateral relief first thing in the morning. Huh? First thing in the morning. Bye. Touch wood. But most of you all are sincere, disciplined, barring 1-2 students who log in late or come to classroom late. Please make sure that next lecture you are not late by a minute, because first thing we will be doing unilateral relief. Last lecture before the break, as far as these first 6 lectures are concerned, so 4 lectures of introduction and 2 lectures of double taxation avoidance agreement. If at all you have missed anything or something, वैसे तो all of you all have backup also, but these first 6 lectures we are also putting on YouTube, so that your friends, if you are comfortable or there is some discomfort with the classroom and you want to change your classroom, so you know what to do. Okay, so you can share these links with your friends in the neighboring buildings. I'll see you guys in the next lecture. Please, thank you very much. Have a nice day.